The National Football League. Today, from Denver Mile High Stadium, it's the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Denver Broncos. Brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By BMW, the ultimate driving machine. To arrange a thorough test drive, phone your nearest BMW dealer. And by McDonald's. It's a good time for the great taste.
It's a day for snowmen in the Mile High City as the Cincinnati Bengals are co-leader at the outset of this day in the AFC Central Division, with Cleveland come to Denver's Mile High Stadium, where playing conditions are excellent, at least to start the game, despite upwards of 7 inches of snow. The pressure's on the Broncos, put on by the Raiders, who are going against the Eagles this afternoon. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy here at sold-out Mile High Stadium as the Broncos are ready to kick the ball off. Tim McGee and Stanford Jennings are back deep for Cincinnati. This is Tim McGee, the rookie from Tennessee, who will down the ball, and the Bengals will go on offense first and 10 at their 20.
Don, even with the snow all over the Denver area today, you couldn't have picked a better place to play. This is a prescription athletic turf, well taken care of by Steve Whiteman and his crew. As you look at the offense of the Bengals, I got the tarp off about 2.5 hours ago. This is as good a surface as you'll find in the NFL on a day like this.
It is remarkable the playing conditions are this good. They've had it covered. Upwards of 7 inches of snow fell today in Denver, more expected. Here's Esiason on first down. Jackson puts pressure on him as Esiason gets it away, and catching the ball is the great James Brooks as he turns across midfield and gets out of bounds at the 44-yard line. So a broken play resulting in a 36-yard gain for the Bengals.
And that's one of the things that both coaches like about their quarterbacks. For Denver, Dan Reeves likes the ability of John Elway to make the big play, as we watch Ricky Hundley with pressure, and Esiason for Cincinnati starts the game with a big play. Both are creators at the quarterback position. When something's not there, they try to get it done.
Esiason was the number 2 rated passer in the NFL last season behind O'Brien of the Jets. This season he's down a little bit, but still very effective. Bengals feel it's critically important to get on the board first, try to take some of the crowd out. No, nearly an interception as coming out of off the tight end position was Rodney Holman and Dennis Smith. And Steve Foley converging on the ball. Foley almost intercepted. Rulon Jones leads the AFC in sacks, rushing from the left end. A young defensive line. Mecklenburg, an all-pro player at inside linebacker. And Jackson, the oldest linebacker in the NFL in his 13th year. Wright, a 5-time all-pro at the left corner, and Mike Harden, the right corner for the Broncos, has scored 3 touchdowns this year. Running back interceptions and a fumble. Right now, pitch back goes to Bill Johnson, and he crashes into Dennis Smith.
Fumble.
Free ball. It goes out of bounds, and it was last in possession of Bill Johnson, who right now is in Never Never Land.
He is unconscious on the field. A hit by Dennis Smith. Absolutely out cold.
So a break in the action. Bengals keep the ball when we come back to Mile High.
From behind the defense, this Denver group under Joe Collier, a great pursuit defense. Watch the hit. Dennis Smith, helmet on helmet with Bill Johnson. He's out before he hits the ground. The ball squirts away, and the new rule in the NFL, it is spotted at the spot where Bill Johnson fumbled it.
Correct. Johnson was a great running back in the now-defunct U.S. Football League. Had over 1,200 yards one season running for the Denver Gold at this stadium. And Johnson goes to the sideline now. The Bengals with the ball at the 42-yard line of Denver.
Stanley Wilson is in the lineup to replace Bill Johnson.
Larry Kennebrew, through the first part of the season, was the starting fullback for the Bengals, biggest fullback in football at 270 pounds, but coughed it up 3 times against Seattle, so he's on the bench.
They got to hurry. They only got 6 seconds left on the 30-second clock, Don.
Down to 2. They get the snap off, and Esiason takes a deep look as a man open, and diving for the ball at the 31-yard line is Steve Kreider, who goes out of bounds with a reception, and it's a first down for Cincinnati. Ryder hasn't caught many this year. Veteran from Lehigh. That's only his 4th reception. He'd been injured earlier. Sam Weich, now in his 3rd year as head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. Both these coaches, Dan Reeves and Sam Weich, will go to the bag of tricks. You could see some unusual plays before this one's over.
As standard operating procedure, they use a bag of tricks.
And they both make them work. They're probably the 2 best teams at the NFL going to gadgets. James Brooks, head down. He was slowed up by outside linebacker Jim Ryan, and Kyle Mecklenburg finished him off. The gain down to the 30-yard line. Really no gain. And so now with 13:40 to play, it'll be 2nd down and long.
And this will be an interesting matchup all day long. The Bengals are the best rushing team in the AFC. The Denver Broncos rushing defense 2nd best in the AFC. Anthony Munoz trying to pull up through there, but little or no gain for the Bengals. 2nd and 10.
Eddie Brown, deep speed to the near flank. He's running a short pattern.
As standard operating procedure, they use a bag of tricks.
And they both make them work. They're probably the 2 best teams at the NFL going to gadgets. James Brooks, head down. He was slowed up by outside linebacker Jim Ryan, and Kyle Mecklenburg finished him off. The gain down to the 30-yard line. Really no gain. And so now with 13:40 to play, it'll be 2nd down and long.
And this will be an interesting matchup all day long. The Bengals are the best rushing team in the AFC. The Denver Broncos rushing defense 2nd best in the AFC. Anthony Munoz trying to pull up through there, but little or no gain for the Bengals. 2nd and 10.
Eddie Brown, deep speed to the near flank. He's running a short pattern. Here's the ball thrown down to Tim McGee. Another fine defensive play by Dennis Smith. A strong safety from Southern California came up and popped him as the ball arrived. It was a perfect throw, and the receiver was open, but Smith recovered.
And the more you watch this kid, Dennis Smith, out of USC, the more you realize what a spectacular athlete he is. Just outstanding. And you see the size of the Bengals offensive line. The Denver Broncos, weight-wise, the smallest team in the NFL.
And the defensive front of the Broncos is not big. The Bengals go with blue chip Clydesdales up front. Huge, and they're all good. On the run, the throw is to Eddie Brown, who turns upfield. He rule him out. They're going to rule it incomplete. One official does. Another stops the ball at the 21-yard line.
Yeah, he didn't get the first down,
but he got the catch. It goes.
9 yards. First time we see slipperiness on the field. Brown in motion. Offense rolls that way. No one went with Eddie Brown. He took himself out. That's his foot right there slipped. Good spot by the officials.
Now Jim Breach comes out, a troubled place kicker. He's been a very good one, had some back problems. Has hit only 50% of his field goal tries this year, just over that. This will be a 39-yard attempt. 14 to 27 field goals. Throughout his career prior to this year, he's hit 70%. Ryder's the holder, looking for the first points of the game of the Bengals. Jim Breach fails to deliver again, so Cincinnati gets the ball downfield but gets no points. And with 13:07 left to play, a timeout, and Denver gets the ball when we come back. Back at Mile High Stadium, Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy as the Broncos have the ball for the first time. John Elway at quarterback. Excellent throwing on the run, as is his counterpart Esiason. Back to a near side screen, and here comes Wilhite. He's across the 25. Free ball. It'll be Denver's. And a penalty marker comes in from the back judge well after the play is over, Trump.
And that looked like a clip. I think Reggie Williams got clipped on that screen. This is an excellent screening team, the Denver Broncos. And on a day with inclement weather, this flag's going to be against Cincinnati.
That's what Watson's signaling.
Just as Wilhite caught that ball, it looked like somebody clipped him from behind.
Grabbing the face mask, number 58, defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Joe Kelly, a rookie linebacker from Washington. There are some finals in. Redskins had a tough time, but they go to 11-2 with a victory over the St. Louis Cardinals today. Buffalo holding to a 3-point lead over the Chiefs at Kansas City. Houston playing the Browns tough. They've gone to overtime at Cleveland Stadium. San Diego has sent Indianapolis down to a 13th consecutive loss. Vinny Testaverde says he'll play wherever he's drafted, and he'll be drafted by the Colts. Handoff, straight ahead run, and the Broncos get some good blocking from the right side. Paul Howard and Ken Lanier as Gene Lang takes it out to the 38-yard line. On a first down carry, he got about 5. John Elway, the young firearm quarterback, the whole offense revolves around him. They don't get a whole lot from their running backs. Wilhite's having a good year, running the ball some, catching it a lot, returning kicks. Offensive line, not big, but a very cohesive, well-trained group. They play excellent football together. Don't give up a lot of sacks. It is now second down and a long 4 as they go back to the run. And this time the Bengals, who've been an improving team, Trumpy, in the recent weeks, are showing it here a little bit against the run.
Last week they gave up an awful lot of yards in the first half, of Minnesota allowed the Vikings just 48 yards total offense in the second half. Stay primarily with that 3-man front.
Good young linebackers. Carl Sanders having a big year. Reggie Williams, the one veteran. Billups, a rookie at cornerback, is the best one-on-one cover in the Cincinnati secondary. Fulcher's a 230-pound strong safety. He lays him out like a linebacker. Big hitter. See what the Broncos go now to on 3rd and short. Wilhite. First down and some more. Trap block up the middle, and Wilhite straight at the Cincinnati defense is out to the 48-yard line.
Don, this is a team under Dan Reeves, the Denver Broncos. They try to isolate players. You can see Billy Bryan, the center, handling Tim Crumry. Also a good lead block by Gene Lang up through the middle there. And Wilhite has an easy pickup for a first down.
Broncos offense has been having problems in the recent weeks. They've lost 2 of their last 3 games after winning 6 in a row out of the gate and 7 of their first 8. Broncos trying to control the ball on the run now. First down carry is good for just 2 yards to midfield. Sammy Winder, the leading rusher, has averaged just 30 yards in the last 3 games running the ball.
Broncos started out the game with that screen pass. This is one of the best screening teams you'll find in the NFL. Elway is good at selling it, and they try to get the ball in the hands of great athletes like Winder and Wilhite. Break a tackle, turn a little gain into a big gain.
Sam White and the Bengal coaches were looking for a lot of screens, but Elway's going to go deep now. Downfield, he's looking at Mark Jackson, a rookie from Purdue, who caught a lot of balls from Jim Everett, now of the Rams. That'll bring up 3rd down and about 7.
This defensive line of the Bengals going to have to put pressure on Elway. He moves probably better than any quarterback in the game today. Does not have to set up to throw it. Sometimes it gets him in trouble, though. John, for his career, has thrown 60 career touchdowns, 61 career interceptions.
But he's been the best quarterback in the NFL from a winning standpoint over the past 2 seasons. And since he took over 3 years ago, he's 34-12 as a starting quarterback, 74% wins. Elway with a quick strike up the middle. First down, Denver. They get it down to the 39-yard line. Reggie Williams comes up and makes the pop on Orson Mobley, rookie tight end, and so the Broncos drive on.
He's an easy target to find, too, at about 6'5", 255. Reeves runs the H-back offense. That is generally a tight end in motion, so his tight ends are a little bigger than the average run-of-the-mill tight end. They must block first, receive second.
Clarence Kay now in the game at tight end, set to the left. First down and 10 for Denver. There's no score in the first quarter on a cold, snowy day in the Mile High City. Back to the trap blocking, and the good run by Wilhite takes it all inside the Cincinnati 35-yard line, where Crumry and Fulcher on the stop.
And one of the secrets to that is handling the nose tackle. You see a good job by Bishop standing up Tim Crumry, the nose tackle. That creates the little seam in the defense. That's exactly where the running back went.
Wilhite with 14 yards on 2 runs. We're in the first quarter. 8:48 to play in, and there's no score. Bengals drove down their opening possession and missed a field goal. Winder takes it back, maybe ahead for half a yard is all, to about the 31-yard line. Reggie Williams, an 11-year veteran from Dartmouth, made the play for Cincinnati. Broncos offense in the 2 games they've lost, losing 2 of their last 3 to San Diego and the Giants, lost to the Giants last week. The Denver defense didn't give up a touchdown in either loss. 10th play of this drive now. Broncos moving the ball primarily on the run. No markers as Elway stands in and gets time and hits Vance Johnson, who had the ball, and he's down to the 25-yard line.
No catch.
Rule it off now. They wave it off.
That ball looked like it popped loose when he hit the ground. Elway's got plenty of time to throw here. Comes from the... There he is right there. 1, 2. I think that's a catch. We do have the replay official here. Dan Reeves is looking right at that play. Came right at him.
One. Rich Carlos, the barefoot kicker who played collegiately at the University of Cincinnati, is on the field now for Denver.
Now the umpire says, wait a minute, we're going to take another look. The rule in the NFL is if the second foot comes down and the receiver has clear possession of the football, that is a catch.
Jack Reeder from the NFL office, a longtime official, is reviewing the tapes right next to us here. I think you're right, Trump. That's going to go as a catch. He lost the ball when he hit the ground. Jerry Markbart, the referee.
Watch that second foot. One knee is just as good as the second foot. The ball comes out as he hits the ground. I think that goes as a catch.
The play stands. Incomplete. 4th down.
I don't understand. For the life of me, Dan Reeves and I agree. I don't understand. That's as clear, I thought, as you can possibly make it for a reception.
Now, in the snow and the cold, Rich Carlos ready to try a 49-yard field goal. He's actually kicking into a swirling wind.
Not in there.
Oh, got it.
Just over.
Rich Carlos, who's had some down moments here in Denver, delivers a 49-yard field goal. So the Bengals missed their field goal.
Watch how close this ball is to making it. The guy that catches the ball is standing right behind the goalpost, Don, from 49 yards. Yes, sir, it's good. Rich Carlos, barefoot and all, gets the Broncos on the board first.
So the Broncos on their first possession go down the field, 11 plays, and hit the big field goal, and now Carlos kicks off. Stanford Jennings awaiting the kickoff at the 4. Jennings breaks it as they bust the wedge, and he's out across the 40 and not done till he gets to the 44-yard line. So the Bengals bring it right back on the kickoff return, a 41-yard return. The Steelers have taken the Bears to overtime at Chicago. The Rams have sent the slumping Jets down to their second straight defeat. And New England found a way to come from behind again in the closing moments. So the Jets and the Patriots are tied in the AFC East, both now at 10-3. Washington goes to 11-2. The Bills in Kansas City still fighting it out in the 4th quarter at Arrowhead. Bills with a 3-point lead. James Brooks, who does it all for Cincinnati, but not on that play. As the Denver defense sweeps in, Hundley led the charge, and cornerback Mike Harden was there also.
If the Bengals' idea today coming in to play the Broncos was to try to run against them, to this point it has not worked at all.
Well, as you know, Trump, the Bengals are the best rushing team in the American Conference, and the Broncos, despite having what's termed an undersized defense, are the best in the conference at stopping the run. So far, Denver's been winning that battle. Esiason with time, lets her go long. Eddie Brown takes it at the 34-yard line. He's in for a first down for Cincinnati. The Fleet wide receiver who played in the national championship team with Bernie Kosar at Miami of Florida makes his 43rd reception of the season. Good for a 22-yard Cincinnati gain.
Big matchup today. Rulon Jones, 13.5 sacks coming in. Joe Walter, young man with the task of keeping Rulon Jones off Boomer Esiason. That time, Esiason got the ball off, but Rulon was right in his chest.
Rulon comes in with 13.5 sacks, #1 in the AFC through 12 games. Now the Bengals starting to mount a challenge. They trailed Denver 3-0. Stanley Wilson, a quick back as the lone setback. Play fake to him. Esiason gets it to Holman, his tight end, and he's down to the 20-yard line for a 14-yard gain and another Bengal first down.
Tom Jackson, the man in coverage, Don, as you mentioned earlier, the oldest linebacker in the NFL, still plays like a pup. I don't know where he gets his energy, but TJ can still cover anybody out there that time. Nice little roll by Cincinnati, and just the foot speed of Rodney Holman was the cushion that Boomer Esiason needed for the completion.
14th season for Jackson. Loves to play the Raiders. Does he play them at Mile High or the Coliseum or in a parking lot? Like to play them every week. Most would not. 5:30 to go. First quarter. Snow and cold at Mile High. Broncos lead 3-0. Bengals are driving, and here's the very quick Stanley Wilson from Oklahoma, driving into the end zone for a touchdown.
What happened?
Stanley Wilson, a comeback story from drug rehabilitation. He has played some tremendous football for Cincinnati, and Wilson scores his 6th touchdown of this season, really taking the Bronco defenders with him into the end zone.
Well, they ran right at Rulon Jones, and he was through there so quickly it looked like somebody missed an assignment or slipped, but nobody did. Offensive right side of the Bengals, Joe Walter, Max Montoya, Remington up front. Got the job done.
And so the Bengals get down the field, and with 5:19 to play, they take the lead 6-3. For that time, the #1 rushing offense in the American Conference breaks through the best at stopping the run. Jim Breach hits the point after, and it's a 7-3 game. The Bengals are in the lead, and they'll kick it off when we come back.
We can see what happened. Watch 98, Ricky Hundley, the middle linebacker. This is an even defense. You see James Brooks go in motion. We'll show you the replay in just a second after the kickoff.
Back to live. Here's the kickoff. Ken Bell, a rookie from Boston College, breaks it up the middle for Denver and gets the ball out to the 36-yard line. Carl Zander brought him down.
Back again to the touchdown. Watch 98. When Brooks goes in motion, Ricky Hundley stays there. You'll see a double and rub. Joe Walters comes out. Hundley stops. Stanley Wilson, a 20-yard touchdown run. That's the first rushing touchdown the Broncos defense has allowed in the last 5 games, Don.
We're getting into some high-tech football now. Double and rubs.
Oh, double and rub. That goes back to Vince Lombardi.
Double and rub worked it, and Stanley Wilson was in on the payoff end. It's now a 7-3 game Cincinnati. Broncos with the ball. 7 inches of snow earlier today. The field was covered and is in excellent condition. Pitch back to Wilhite. And he turns the corner. And Gerald Wilhite is all the way down inside the 45-yard line and down to the 44.
Fulcher finally makes the tackle after a 22-yard gain. Turnabout fair play. Almost the identical sweep. See, Winder on the lead block. Nobody touches Wilhite. He gets to the corner. Joe Kelly, 58 of the Bengals, gets captured inside. Big pickup by the Broncos, who are running the ball well today. I'm sure that's exactly what Dan Reeves wanted.
Wilhite is a former #1 draft choice. He had some unproductive years. This season he scored 8 touchdowns, 5 running the ball and 3 receiving. He's gained 36 yards today on just 3 carries. Broncos trailing 7-3. Wilhite again. He can throw it. He's looking to. Hey, the tight end can't get to the ball at the 16-yard line. Clarence Kay was fined for forgetfulness. Some pretty big fines. He was forgetting to come to practice. In overtime, the Bears go to 11-2 as they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 13-10. Buffalo makes it final. Bills win their 4th game, beating Kansas City.
On the road, too.
Nice, that's right. They would have tied the record or broken the record for losses on the road. Marv Levy, the new Buffalo coach, going back to beat the team that fired him. Raiders out in front of Philadelphia, and Atlanta surprise leader over the Dolphins at Miami. Elway on 2nd and 10. A fastball that's off the shoulder pads of Vance Johnson.
Well, that ate him up. That's one thing about John Elway. Throws the ball so incredibly hard that the receivers have to be ready. When it's cold, that ball is like a brick. But you can see Vance Johnson doesn't get his hands up in time. And when you try to catch that ball with a body, there is no cushion at the body. You get your hands out there in front of you, and your hands can carry the ball back to the body. You make the catch.
Elway's the best running quarterback in pro football also. He's averaging almost 5 yards a rush. Completing 56% of his passes this season. 13 touchdown throws. He's been intercepted 9 times, but he hasn't thrown a TD pass in almost a month. Does very well to get that ball away to Vance Johnson. They ruled it incomplete at the 42-yard line. and it brings up 4th down and 10. So the offense comes off for the Broncos.
That time the Bengals used Emmanuel King to drop off in coverage. Eddie Edwards and Lewis Billups, the cornerback, on the blitz. That's what you got to do nowadays in the NFL. If you don't have a Chicago-type defense, you got to trick them with blitzes.
They've had punting problems in the Mile High City. Mike Horan, a former Philadelphia Eagle out of Long Beach State, won a tryout contest. They had about 5 kickers in. And Horan is now the new place kicker, the new punter, replacing Chris Norman. He's the 3rd punter this season. Jack Wheel started the season. Norman was cut in the summer. They brought him back. Now he's gone again. Horan shows good hands and gets the ball downfield, angled nicely. It'll go out of bounds inside the 20-yard line.
Watch the official walk up the sideline now. He tries to sync up with Jerry Markwright where it goes out. About the 16.
Just 27 yards, but he does get it out of bounds inside the 20, and there the Bengals going offense again.
Keith Bishop is the punt snapper for the Broncos. Normally very, very good at this, but the snap is a little low. Horan does an excellent job of handling it. And here in Denver, sometimes you do have to be a shortstop, probably part of the consideration why Reeves accepted him as the punter.
Now the Bengals set up as the Rocky Mountain Thunder, the foot stamping in applause. Very difficult to call signals. They'll take a lot of teams out of shotguns. Wilson, last time he had it, you'll remember, he was in the end zone. This time he's knocked out of bounds for a substantial loss. Mark Haynes in the defensive secondary of the Broncos came over to make the play.
Looked like Tom Jackson was in there almost to take the handoff. 57 of the Broncos was in the backfield. Destroyed the timing of the play. Stanley Wilson basically had no place to go.
We could get a lot more snow as this game wears on. Highways outside of Denver, we're told, have been shut down. Here is the handoff straight up the middle on a 2nd down and 15 run. And the gain is out to the 15-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down and about 11.
Again, Dennis Smith from that strong safety spot in to make the tackle. Almost plays like a linebacker. One of the toughest hitters I've ever seen in the game, along the lines of Billy Thompson. Used to play strong safety here for Denver. Joe Collier, defensive coordinator.
3rd down for the Bengals. The big left-hander needs 11 on this throw coming up. James Brooks will be a lone setback. 4 wideouts in the game. Big rush. And Esiason's got room to run. Mark Haynes has a play on him, but too late, and it looks like he's got the 1st down.
Very close. Very close.
Yeah, it could be. Now it looks like they're spotting it short now. An 11-yard run. Looks like he's just short, or is now not might have it. We'll have to wait for the measurement.
Don, you understand, though, that on game day they have markers on both sides of the field, but the near side marker is official. The far side marker is just so that the fans can see where the 1st down marker is. You can see where that orange stripe is. That's the 1st down marker, but that's unofficial. They'll measure.
More importantly, so the players can see where the 1st down is.
True, very true.
Game clock shows 3:13 to play. The Bengals lead 7-3 on a 20-yard touchdown run, and the spot is short. Stanley Wilson scored the touchdown for Cincinnati after the Broncos had taken a 3-0 lead.
See where his left foot is? Obviously out of bounds there. Ends up being a 4th down. Jeff Hayes in the punt.
So Jeff Hayes, the Cincinnati kicking game, has not been stalwart. Jeff Hayes with the lowest average and lowest net of any NFL punter this year, but he did run a fake punt in 61 yards against the Steelers to win a football game. Hayes standing back at his 10. Wilhite back at his 30 for Denver. Not a deep kick, but Wilhite lets it bounce. It takes a Cincinnati roll. And there's a penalty marker down also at the line of scrimmage. 44-yard punt with the roll, and the clock stopped at 3:01 with a penalty and change of possession.
Illegal man downfield for Cincinnati. I'm sure Denver will make him punt it again. I'd be surprised if the Broncos take it here at the 30-yard line. Dan Reeves saying, make them kick it again. Make those guys run 40 yards again.
Bengals with an excellent record, 8-4. But they've had problems in one area. They're the only team in the NFL that's a winning team.
Number 58, offense, 4th down.
It's been outscored by the opposition. The Broncos, with their strong defense, hoping to keep Cincinnati down. Anytime the Broncos have scored 20 or more points, they've won, and the Bengals have been outscored by their opposition this season. A very important meeting between the Bengals and the Browns coming up in Cincinnati, December 14th. Head-to-head play between the Bengals and the Browns. Cincinnati's up 1-0. They won at Cleveland. High kick, but Wilhite will bring it back. So they do indeed get more yardage if they make the Bengals punt again. The ball is out to the 48-yard line now of Denver. 37-yard punt, a 5-yard return.
It's almost an 18-yard gain by Denver. This Denver situation, the Raiders breathing down their neck. This is a must-win situation, and when it comes down to the tie-breaking procedure, Denver already has 2 wins against the Raiders.
And Denver has much more difficult scheduling the rest of the way. Denver goes to Kansas City next Sunday, then plays Washington here, plays at Seattle to close it out. A long ball, Elway going, and the ball is taken in by Mark Jackson, and they rule it a catch at the 19-yard line.
Great catch.
Mark Jackson, who is averaging 21 yards a catch, pulls down 133 yards in length, and it's a first down as the Broncos challenge.
And one thing John Elway is accused of is not having a touch when he throws the ball. This is perfect. He puts the ball just enough to get it over Lewis Breeden, 34, into the hand of Jackson. 33-yard reception. That's an outstanding pass and catch.
26th catch of the year for the rookie from Purdue. Not big, 5'9", but very fleet. As you saw there, he had 2 steps on the defender, and now the Broncos trailing 7-3 challenge. First quarter.
Green.
Wilhite down to the 15, maybe the 14-yard line. Got close to 5. Crumry and Fulcher were on the stop for Cincinnati.
What Denver does so very well offensively is spread out the defense. They had Mobley way out wide. Wilhite, you can see, sells the screen. Look like he's pass blocking. And Crumry, the nose tackle, and Fulcher assist each other on the tackle. But it's a nice pickup. Best screening team in the NFL, Denver Broncos.
Sam White, the Bengal coach, was worried about that. They were expecting, what, 11 or 12 screens to be thrown, looking at the tendencies from computer printouts in past games. Now they go to the run, and Wilhite, behind the lead blocker, takes it down to the 10-yard line. On a 2nd and 5 play, he got 4. It'll be 3rd and short.
He's down, too. Looks hurt. It'd be a big loss for Denver. He's accounted for over 1,000 yards with his receiving, rushing, punt returning.
So while Gerald Wilhite of the Broncos is attended to, a look at the scoreboard with 1:50 to play here in Denver, and the Bengals leading 7-3. Atlanta continues to lead the favored Dolphins 10-0 at the Orange Bowl now in the 2nd quarter. The Eagles have come back to tie the Raiders in the 1st quarter at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Raiders scheduling their way the rest of the way. They have a tough one at Seattle next following the Eagles, but then they're at home to play Kansas City and Indianapolis.
Bengals no slouch of a season either. Denver, a division leader. They play New England, the only 2nd place team in the AFC for the remainder of the season. They play Cleveland, who also shares in the lead in the AFC Central, and the New York Jets. Wilhite looks fine.
But he's had a lot of yards today, Trump. He's rushed for 40 yards. He has caught 2 passes for 13 more, and has a punt return for 5. 58 yards offense and return yardage for Gerald Wilhite, who leads the Broncos, you're pointing out, with over 1,000 for the year. Broncos down 7-3, 1:35 to play 1st quarter. Elway's not thrown for a touchdown in almost a month since the November 2nd game against the Raiders at Los Angeles. Going to the run to Gene Lang, and Crumry knocked it down. The nose tackle is the best defensive lineman this season for Cincinnati. They're making those hits count. These guys are slow getting up.
Now it's just a matter of the spot. Jerry Markwright again brings in the chain. Looks ever so slightly short. Elway is signaling about a foot short.
If you joined us late, both teams have moved the ball in this game. Bengals got the opening kickoff, went down, but missed a field goal. Denver on its first possession got down, in a long field goal, a 49-yarder by Carlos was good, a 3-0 Bronco lead. Then a big kickoff return by Stanford Jennings, and shortly thereafter his teammate was in the end zone for a touchdown run from 20 yards out. Stanley Wilson on the payoff end. And now the Broncos go first and goal from the 9-yard line. No, they're short, excuse me. It's going to be 4th down and inches at the 9-yard line. So they go to a power formation with 3 tight ends in the game, and I set in the backfield.
They're trying to draw him off.
And he got it that time.
He got it.
Now, while we have a moment, let's go to NFL 86 and Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad?
All right, Don, in Cleveland, Mark Mosley, who was just signed this week with the Browns, wins it for Cleveland with this 30-yard field goal with 22 seconds left to go in overtime. Final score, Cleveland 13, Houston 10.
Thank you, Ahmad. So the Browns put the pressure back on Cincinnati, as now Winder takes it at the Bengal defense, and he's down to the 5-yard line. On a first and goal run from the 8, he got 3. Crumry again made the stop, primary hitter for the Bengals. Browns go to 9-4. Bengals with very tough scheduling at New England, then home to play Cincinnati and close out at home against the Jets. Will Height, we're told, has a bruised right knee, but he is expected to return to the game. New England's unbelievable. The next opponent for the Bengals at winning tight games at the end. They won today by a point at New Orleans to tie the Jets for first place in the AFC East. We'll be back to Denver after this.
U.S. Army. Despite his famous football name, Bears center Jay Hilgenberg was ignored in the NFL draft. He almost quit the game.
It's a little different when you come as a free agent because you see the top draft choices, how things are almost given to them, and you got to go out and work every day and fight for everything that you get. And I think the most important thing is to always trust in your ability and never let anybody take your confidence away.
With Bob Trumpy at Mile High Stadium in Denver. A lot of offense in this game so far, Trump.
Yeah, I think Dan Reeves is very happy with the way his team is running the football, too. When they've needed to come up with a big down, they've gotten it running. The Bengals on the other side of the coin throwing the ball particularly well. And I don't think at any point in this football game the field will be a factor. To Steve Whiteman's credit, his ground crew has got the game here. It's like 63 and sunny.
They started out this morning. It looked like they wouldn't get a football game in. Big buildup of snow. As we pointed out, highways around Denver have been closed already. But now the snow is stopped. It's not that cold. Temperature in the 30s. As you look at the first quarter numbers, well over 200 yards combined offense. Both teams moving the ball in this game. It is a 7-3 game Cincinnati, but the Broncos are driving now at the ball inside the 5-yard line.
None of the 31 yards rushing the Bengals have, 20 came on one run, Stanley Wilson's touchdown. So the Broncos have done an excellent job of shutting down the run for the most part.
Denver with a spread formation. Elway pumps it, throws it, touchdown Broncos. Coming out to the near flank and moving with the ball is Vance Johnson, and Mark Jackson right with him. He took a defender with him, did Jackson, and Vance Johnson was open for the strike by Elway. His first touchdown pass since November 2nd.
You can see it's Johnson that comes in motion. When he builds up that foot speed, the defender can't stay with him. Louis Breeden, 34, the closest man. Jackson does a good job getting the other defender deep. An easy 6 points.
So now with the Broncos taking the lead for a second time, Carlos hits the point after to make it a 10-7 game. But there's a penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage. Touchdown throw by John Elway. Here was his last previous one at the Coliseum in Los Angeles against the Raiders on November 2nd.
Been a long time, taking a lot of heat here in Denver. And he'd only thrown 8 interceptions in the same period of time, but He's going to get it in the end zone somehow.
That one against the Raiders to Sammy Winder, the last to Vance Johnson, his second touchdown reception of this season. Now Tim McGee downs the ball. The #1 draft choice this past spring of the Cincinnati Bengals from tennis. Look at this little guy come out. Gets the tee.
Probably the thrill of his life. Hopes to someday return in a real Bronco uniform. That's a long run for a little kid like that.
So on the touchback, the ball comes out to the 20-yard line, and the Bengals will go on offense there. They trailed 3-0, led 7-3. Now they trail 10-7 with 14:50 to play in the first half. Good throw by Esiason to a short-handed receiver, Chris Collinsworth. Catches his 48th pass of the year. The veteran from Florida. We call him the thoroughbred at Florida because he was so fast. He got to Cincinnati, and someone at Latonia Downs wanted him to race a thoroughbred real one. It's a 50-yard race. Collinsworth said he lost by 47 yards. Wasn't even in the picture at the finish.
Yeah, then I think he bought the horse, too.
He does own some thoroughbreds, doesn't he?
Yes. It's a long time without a touchdown pass.
Esiason can get it downfield in a hurry. He's got the long arm to it. Here is Stanley Wilson. They key on him after earlier in this game, you'll remember, Stanley Wilson broke one up the middle for 20 yards and a touchdown.
Tell you, Broncos, this is a movement defense. Watch Hundley from the inside. He reads the sweep immediately, trying to get out there. Excellent block by James Brooks, but he's still there to assist on the tackle along with Tony Lilly. This is a great pursuit defense. That's the entire design by Joe Collier, and they get it done.
A surprise at the Coliseum in Los Angeles with the Eagles down 7-0 to the Raiders have now rallied for 13 points to take a 6-point lead. That'll be well received. That news here in Denver. Broncos with just a 1-game lead now over the Raiders. A throw and a catch goes to Rodney Holman, and the big tight end is across the 40. He has a first down.
Very difficult pass for a left-handed quarterback to throw. Rolls right. Then sets up, throws it back left. It ends up being an 11-yard pickup. There's a lot for Boomer Esiason to do here. Holman kind of gets lost in the shuffle. Another bag of tricks play by Sam White. It works.
Esiason has passed for 115 yards so far in the game. It is 10-7. The favored Broncos are in the lead. Again, Esiason waits on the rush, then dumps it off, this time to Wilson. And Stanley Wilson, a power back with great speed. He's 5'10", 215 pounds, a former Oklahoma Sooner. Gets ahead for a gain of about 8 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 2.
Wilson looks like he may have gotten kicked in the face, a gash of some sort. And Larry Kennebrew comes in the ball game. This is the way they...
That's ominous. The division of doom. Dan Reeves had great success against the AFC Central. Under Reeves, the Broncos are 10-1 against opponents in that division.
Watch Kennebrew. He's had a penchant for fumbling, Don.
Biggest fullback in the game. Here's a free ball. Esiason falls on it, and it'll be 3rd down and 2. The Bengals fortunate there to beat the Bronco defenders to the ball.
Esiason Kennebrew against Seattle 3 times fumbled the football, but this was on Esiason. Able to maintain possession, very lucky.
Broncos are tough to beat in this stadium. As right now, the Bengals are trailing Denver 10-7. Broncos have won 24 of their last 28 games at Mile High. The last time they played here, they beat Kansas City. Prior to that, though, they were beaten 9-3 in a major upset by San Diego.
They got to hurry.
Wilson breaks it, and he almost goes the distance. He might. He's a load. Stanley Wilson gets it inside the 25-yard line. 28-yard run by Stanley Wilson.
This is the best rushing offense in the AFC. And for the most part, Denver's done a great job of shutting them down. but they have allowed in short yardage situation now 2 big plays. See Wilson, a missed tackle there by Rick Hundley, and he runs by 22 Tony Lilly. Ends up being a 28-yard pickup by the Bengals.
An excellent block trump by Brian Blados, hit his primary man and then screened Ricky Hundley off the play, and that really sprung Wilson around the corner. Stanley Wilson with 46 yards and 5 carries, 1 for 20 yards, and the Bengals only score. It's a 10-7 game, Denver. James Brooks goes right up the middle and takes it inside the 10 and down to the 5-yard line. So this top defense in the conference against the run is getting busted wide open by that huge offensive front of Cincinnati.
18-yard pickup. He's the second leading rusher in the AFC behind Kurt Warner. And I think Colorado went in to play the nose tackle there. This is just a straight ahead play. Good lead block by 28 Kennebrew. Dennis Smith misses James Brooks, 49, very unusual. Dennis Smith, one of the most sure-handed tacklers you'll find in the game. That's a run of 28, a run of 18 on 2 successive plays.
Esiason goes to Kennebrew in the big back. Head down, takes it in on the payoff end. Larry Kennebrew, and the Bengals have the lead for a second time. 9:20 to play in the first half. And Larry Kennebrew, who weighs somewhere between 265 and 280 pounds. Tell you, every meal for him, it's like he's going to the chair. He gets it all.
You can see Louis Wright saying, uh-oh, what have I got myself into here? Kennebrew is about 9 rooms deep in Sam White's doghouse. He just moved up to room 8.
It's amazing how quickly he can gain weight.
Just looking at ads in the newspaper, he gains weight.
Now the point after attempt by Jim Breach is on the way and through the middle, and so at 9:20 to play in the first half, the Cincinnati Bengals take the lead for a second time. It's a 14-10 game. Cincinnati Bengals with a high-power offense just went 80 yards in 8 plays. Larry Kennebrew in for the touchdown, and now the Bengals lead for a second time, 14-10 with 9:20 to play in the first half. A wild game at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. 2 punt returns for touchdowns in that game between the Raiders and the Eagles, where the Eagles lead Los Angeles 13-7. Ken Bell will not bring it out, and the Broncos will start first and 10 at their 20. Denver under the gun from the Los Angeles Raiders. A game of momentum. The Jets with a 10-1 record and now beaten badly their last 2 games, scoring just field goals in a rout loss at Miami, a 45-3 loss, and only a field goal today as the Jets were beaten 17-3 by the LA Rams in the Meadowlands of New Jersey. And with another close win for New England, there's a tie in the AFC East at the top.
Looks like another screen here, Don.
Winder, his wisdom, both hands on the ball. Taking it right at the Cincinnati defenders. Crumry again was on the stop.
Don, once again, Orson Mobley lined up way out wide. Last time they ran that formation, that's when they ran the screen. You can see they do an excellent job of rolling out number 70, Scow. Running back right up through there for about a 5-yard gain.
John Elway does not have happy memories, as you know, Crump, of the Cincinnati Bengals. Last time he played against him, he went out with a shoulder injury, and Ross Browner got him. Now it's 2nd down and 5. Elway with a nice throw to Watson downfield out to the 37-yard line. It's a first down, Denver. Watson, who hasn't caught a lot of balls, only 3 receptions in his last 4 games leading up to this one, makes a first down catch of 12 yards.
He runs an excellent pattern here. The ball is thrown before Watson turns around. Lewis Breeden in coverage 34. Elway's got a man firing right at him on the blitz. Stands right in there and makes the completion for a first down. That's just beautiful. When it works like that, the way the coaches draw it up, it's almost unstoppable.
Elway's coming off a tremendous game against the Giants, albeit a losing effort for Denver, when he recorded career highs in completions and rushing yards. He led Denver in rushing last week with 51. Now working hard upfield on a first down carry out to the 41-yard line is Sammy Winder. He'll bring up a 2nd down and 5, 2nd and 6.
Outside linebacker Reggie Williams responsible for pursuit. Once he sees where the play goes, laterally across the line of scrimmage, there to assist on the tackle on Sammy Winder, a pickup of about 3, 2nd and 7.
The snow, which was very heavy earlier today, has lessened now. In fact, it stopped altogether. Playing field in excellent condition. Too much on it for Orson Mobley. In that Philadelphia Raider game, Garrity ran back a punt for the Eagles. Fulton Walker ran one back 70 yards for the Raiders. And Philadelphia is holding to a 13-7 lead over the heavily favored Raiders, and an equally big upset in the offing perhaps at the Orange Bowl, where Atlanta continues to lead Miami 10-0. The lead's been changing hands here in Denver, where now the Bengals hold a 14-10 lead over the Broncos.
Replay.
Crumry left early. 3rd and 6, no gain but a marker down.
That's going to be on the defense, so it's going to be 3rd down and 1. They'll take the penalty for sure.
Offside, number 70, defense.
Jim Scow, pass rusher for the Bengals. He's lined up closest to the football. All he's got to do is watch it. Look, he's staring right at it. And he jumps. So as opposed to 4th down and Denver has to punt, the drive stays alive, and Denver's done an excellent job of 3rd down conversion so far in this first half.
Right now they have a 3rd and 2 coming up.
They're 2 of 5 in 3rd down conversions.
Wilhite breaks it. 1st down and more. He's to the 46-yard line of the Bengals. Gerald Wilhite, a quick 5'10", 200-pound runner, breaks it. 3rd and short, and the Broncos get 4 new downs.
Excellent lead block by Winder. He gets into Louis Breeden, and there's the alley. Wilhite with good speed, now obviously recovered from that bruised knee. Big 1st down pickup. Drive stays alive for Denver, so that offsides, that encroachment by Scow keeps this drive alive.
Elway to Wilhite on 1st down and 10, a short gain, but it is a gain under pressure as he advances the ball with the reception. Gerald Wilhite's to the 43-yard line of Cincinnati. Carl Zander was on the stop, and Tim Crumry was on the rush.
They are getting some pressure on Elway, but he doesn't seem to mind it. Look, his uniform is clean. Crumry there late. No penalty called. This Denver offense spreads it around. They have 7 receivers with 20 or more catches coming into this ball game.
Now into the 13th game, Trump. The Broncos have only allowed 22 sacks so far of John Elway. A timeout on the field. We'll be back to Denver after this. High Stadium, the Cincinnati Bengals lead the Denver Broncos 14-10, and the Bengal offense, Bob Trumpy's been doing a good job breaking some big plays against a very good defense.
Yeah, but Dan, I'll tell you, big games against big opponents come down to little plays, and that offsides by Jim Scow extended this drive now for Denver. Denver now has an opportunity to really take advantage of the mistake by the Bengals, and when you play great teams, division leaders, you can't make those mistakes.
Now the Broncos go to the shotgun. 2nd down and 7, ball position, 43-yard line. A blitz is picked up. They got Fulcher, the strong safety, who was coming. And Mark Jackson makes another terrific play for the Broncos. The rookie pass catcher plants both feet, takes the ball in, 16 yards, and a 1st down for the Broncos.
And the secret is he catches it with his hands. Now the Bengals come with a blitz. They're taking a chance. Elway has a 2nd to set up, and that's all he needs. You see the hands catch. Ray Horton, number 20, the closest man in coverage. Again, perfect timing on the pass. Ball thrown before the receiver looks. The defender can't stop it.
Temperature in the mid-30s. As Elway, with that lightning throw, this time dumps it off, goes to Sammy Winder, putting on moves and pays the price as a linebacker pulls up from the zone to make strike on him. Carl Zander and Joe Kelly, the inside backers, both got him. But there's a gain on the play of about 7 yards as the Broncos now mounting a challenge to perhaps take the lead back.
I never thought these two teams would have a seesaw battle. One take the lead, the other one take the lead. Back and forth now, 14-10, 24 points scored. Obviously, the weather's not bothering them. They're into the game now, probably very comfortable out there, temperature-wise.
Watson, who has been a great deep receiver for Elway, but not much in recent games, is on the near flank. Lower portion of your screen. Winder on a draw. The Bengals wait for it on second down, and about 4. They make the stop short of the first down. Fulcher, a huge, strong safety, at 230 pounds, stopped the run.
Again, we'll feature Bryant and Bishop, 64 and 54, dealing with Crumry. He gets double teamed all day long, Crumry does. Bishop, one of the outstanding guards in the NFL, gets very little attention. Crumry, same is true as a nose tackle.
Broncos come in 9-3, but they're still smarting from an 11-5 finish a season ago when they failed to make the playoffs. 10th play of this drive coming up. Third down and a long 2.
Jackson.
Elway going for it all, has a man. It's caught for a touchdown. And again, Mark Jackson comes down with the ball this time for his first touchdown reception in the NFL.
We spoke earlier about both Elway and Esiason being creators as quarterbacks, and that time Elway created a touchdown.
Now Carlos barefoots the point after up, and for a third time in this back and forth game, the Denver Broncos take the lead. They're up 17-14.
And the thing you got to love about these kids, both Elway and Esiason, is they make something big out of something bad. Now the intended receiver here, once again, Vance Johnson going in motion. But Elway, when he rolls out, has the presence of mind and the strength of arm to sling it across his body. Robert Jackson, 37, in front. What an absolutely acrobatic catch by Jackson, his first NFL touchdown. The position of quarterback has changed so much. It used to be quarterbacks would go back and they do what the coaches told them, and they take the logical progression of receivers and find the open man. Now with that class of 83, these guys are artists. They don't let defenses shut you down. They go out and get it, take it from you. And that was a prime example there by Elway.
Well, Mark Jackson, a 6th-round draft choice from Purdue, playing to the crowd. He likes all this. He's been here before in that end zone. It's not Mile High, but he has been at Ross-Ade Stadium, home of the Boilermakers, with Jim Everett on the throwing end. Another sustained drive. We've had both teams pull a nose off today, an 80-yard drive in 10 plays, and now it's a 17-14 game, Denver. Rich Carlos hits the ball hard downfield. McGee loses it. He's got it. That's a muff. He can down the ball.
That's right. That's a touchback. Very smart by McGee.
Impetus of the ball carried into the end zone on a kick. Mark Mosley was the man who decided the Cleveland game. In Chicago, it was Kevin Butler who beat the Steelers in overtime with a field goal. Rams maintain their lead in the NFC West with a victory over the Jets on the Jets' home field. New England goes to 10-3 to tie the Jets for the AFC Eastern lead with a win at New Orleans. Redskins 11-2 now after a close game at St. Louis. Esiason out-patterned to Holman as tight end, and they'll rule him out of bounds at the 26-yard line. 2nd down and 4 coming up. Colts go to 0-13. 3 games away from Vinny Testaverde.
I might as well go there and get an apartment now. Okay, this is the thing that surprised me today for the Bengals. Those big plays are allowed by the Denver Bronco defense, very much out of character for the Bronco defense.
Esiason on 2nd and 4. Beautiful throw to Brooks, who loses the ball, turning. James Brooks, an all-purpose back from Auburn, who's been a spectacular player for Cincinnati. He comes in with almost 800 yards rushing, With 37 receptions, James Brooks, number 21, has scored 8 touchdowns this season.
On each time one team has scored, the other team has come back with the answering drive. Pressure now on the Bengals. Last time they had the ball, 8 plays, 80 yards, and a score. Consumed 5 minutes and 37 seconds.
Esiason, 9-12 with the drop. Kreider goes in motion. Looking at Kreider, tip ball, and the Broncos will get it back as Cincinnati has to punt. Randy Robbins, an extra defensive back, made the play to stop this Bengal drive, and now the Broncos send their kick return team in with 3:24 to play in the half.
And that was close to an interception. He had to go through the motion, stayed with Kreider, cut in front of him, almost made the pickoff. Bengals very lucky there.
A reminder to our viewers that we'll be selecting the Budweiser most valuable player for today's game at the conclusion of the game. And Jeff Hayes ready to punt it downfield to Gerald Wilhite. He's troubled. Well hit ball. Wilhite fair catches it. It's his 32. There the Broncos go on offense again. Denver holding to a 17-14 lead. 43-yard punt. Halftime, we'll be going to NFL 86, where Bob Costas, Ahmad Rashad, and Paul McGuire are standing by. Right now, the LA Raiders are still being upset, at least in the second quarter, by the Philadelphia Eagles, 13-7 at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. In this game, the lead's gone back and forth. Broncos led 3-0. Cincinnati led 7-3. Broncos came back to take a 10-7 lead. Then it was Cincinnati 14-10. And now the Broncos with the ball and a 17-14 lead. Out pattern to Winder, and Sammy Winder's going to be very close to a first down. Lewis Breeden, covering on that side, made the play, but 9 yards downfield. John Elway has quarterbacked Denver to 34 wins in the last 46 games he started. Has been the winningest starting quarterback in the NFL over the past 3 seasons, John Elway. Again, they give him time, and there's that rocket arm. But the coverage is right with Jackson as Mark Jackson ran the fly pattern and incomplete at the 5-yard line. Offensive line of the Broncos doing a good job picking up the stunting pass rush. The Bengal rushers, they're coming hard, changing direction as they come, but the Broncos have not been fooled.
Well, that was close. Jackson with tremendous foot speed almost outran the coverage by Robert Jackson's 37, Lewis Breeden 34. If you're a Bronco fan, Denver is 9-0 when they score 20 points or more, have been in the 1986 season. They are tremendous, and with 17 points on the board, looks pretty good for them, wouldn't you say?
This game looks like it might have a lot more scoring, though. Both teams have moved the ball well. Winder's the deep back in the eye set on this 3rd-and-1 play. Winder. Paid the price. I don't know if he got there. If he did, he got there by the nose of the football as the game clock is down to 2:56 to play in the first half. Ross Browner shot the gap and made the stop.
It all comes down to the spot of the football. Looked like Ross Browner, 79, made the first contact, and 56 Simpkins in there. And Jerry Markwright says 4th down. So Horan into punt.
So the replay shows how they stopped it. Our producer today for NBC Sports is George Finkel. Our director Richard Klein. We're down to 2:50 and running. The Broncos ready to punt the ball. They're holding to a 17-14 lead. In the local papers, Denver came in as an 8-point favorite. Ray Horton is back deep now. Moran, the new punter for the Broncos, put his first punt as a Bronco out of bounds at the 16-yard line. It's a high one downfield. They won't return that. Free ball. Broncos have it at the 17-yard line of Cincinnati. Fletcher, a rookie from Houston, a defensive end who's one of the fastest players on the Denver team. Down to recover it as Horton just let it tear him off his chest.
Moran kicked that ball into the wind. And I think it surprised Ray Horton. He had to back up on it. That's the worst thing a punt returner can do. The first turnover of the day for the Denver Broncos.
Broncos going with double tight ends. One wide receiver, Watson. Wilhite takes it at the Bengals. He's down to the 11-yard line of Cincinnati. As you see the game clock wind down to the 2-minute warning.
Now's the time for Denver to take advantage of that defense. They just came off the field. And it, oh no, from the sideline walk out there. Broncos got a chance to put that 20th point on the board.
So the Broncos challenge for another score, and we'll be back after this.
This has been the history of the Broncos, Don. Have the defense turn the ball over for you and give the offense a short field to score. Historically, under Joe Collier and all the rest of the head coaches that the Broncos have had, that's the way they like to play football. You can see the mistakes they've made.
John Elway has come out of his touchdown pass slump today, had not thrown one since November 2nd, almost a month. He has 2 TD throws today, and he could be going for a third right now. It is 2nd down and 4. To the run instead to Wilhite over the top, and he takes it down close to the 7-yard line where he had to go. As the game clock winds down, as you see, to 150 and running. Zander, a big linebacker from Tennessee, filled and made the hit. The Broncos getting very good thrust off the snap of the ball from their offensive front.
They haven't converted it yet. They're still 3rd down and what appears to be inches, and Elway wants a timeout. He wants points here at the end of the half, and I don't blame him. Very important.
We've had 1 turnover, and that's given Denver the ball down close right now. Back after this. John Elway coming over for some sideline counsel with Dan Reeves, the winningest coach in Denver Bronco history, now in his 6th season. He's been to the big game 5 times to the Super Bowl as a player or coach. Coach was with the Cowboys for 16 years as a player and later a coach.
The Broncos last week shortened their offensive game plan. It pleased John Elway to no end. They performed offensively an awful lot better. Elway had season high 336 yards passing, was 29 of 47. Those are both career high numbers. A choice now for Dan Reeves. Do you make sure you get the first down, and then you're going to be 1st and goal? You got 2 timeouts left. I go for the first down here.
They've been packing Mile High for 17 straight seasons now. It seats 76,332, and there's about 60,000 people on the waiting list. They like the Broncos. Right now, the Broncos are threatening to extend their lead. They're up by 3, 17-14. 3rd down and less than a yard. Elway looking to the end zone. Fastball. Touchdown. Sammy Winder fields the ball just off the grass. And they ruled it a catch and a TD.
That ball looked like it skipped. Winder was uncovered in the corner of the end zone, but that ball looked like it skipped. I don't think John Elway could believe he was open. See, he's looking down in the end zone. All of a sudden out to Winder in the flat. Well, we can't really see it. The official, I don't think, can see it either. It's going to stand. Denver scored their 20th point. And now got 23, and they're 9-0 when they scored 20.
I think if you check with Sammy, he'll tell you got it.
Absolutely.
Points are up. Now a 23-14 game, a 24-14 game. So the fumble is expensive for Cincinnati. They trail. This is Don Crickey with Bob Trumpy back at Mile High Stadium. There is Sammy Winder, who just got in the end zone on the touchdown throw from John Elway. Elway's 3rd TD pass of this day. As Sammy Winder now helps the Broncos extend their lead to 10 points. A very expensive fumbled punt by Ray Horton of the Bengals. Winder has now scored 10 touchdowns. Kicks the ball off for the Broncos. McGee, a flyer from Tennessee, is going to bring it back. He gets a crack. He's gone. But good special teams coverage by the Broncos shuts him down. And now let's see what Esiason can do, Trump, with 1:13 to play in the half.
Two things have happened in the latter stage of this second quarter. A penalty on Jim Scow extends the drive for Denver, and they score. And then the fumbled punt return by Ray Horton, and the Broncos score. Probably the most opportunistic football team in the NFL, the Denver Broncos.
Our NBC statistician Ross Schneiderman pointing out the Broncos are 9-0 this season when they score 20 or more points. The Broncos have 24 today in the first half. But Cincinnati can strike with a lot of offense also, but not here as James Brooks tries to turn the corner. And Mike Harden, cornerback, runs him out, so does Steve Wilson.
Interesting call, down by 10 points with 1:06 to go in the first half. I think the Bengals trying to catch Denver in a prevent defense and break James Brooks. The Broncos read it well there to knock him out of bounds.
Sam White saw that fumbled punt right in front of him, and it was critical, at least at this point in the game. Bengals, the only winning team in the NFL to have allowed more points than they've scored during the entire season. They've been winning close games. Throw and a catch. Penalty markers down as Collinsworth gets ahead on 2nd down and 13 for a first down, but it might come back. A holding call against Cincinnati with 59 seconds to play in the first half, and Denver holding to a 24-14 lead.
Illegal use of the hands, number 50, offense, hands to the face, 2nd down.
Dave Remington out of Nebraska. Look at that. That's how well the Broncos have played.
Dave Remington, a great player for the Cornhuskers, Outland Award winner. Right now, his team has a long way to go and 10 points to make up. 59 seconds to play in the first half. Then we switch to NFL 86 in New York. Collinsworth comes near side. They've only gotten the ball to Eddie Brown once. He's a deep flyer. They're playing him tight at the line of scrimmage. Brooks tries to break it. Does for a moment. And on 2nd down and long yardage, gets the ball out to the 18-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down and about 12 or 13.
Now the Broncos take a timeout with 50 seconds left, figuring they may get the ball back, have a chance for more points before the half ends.
Liberty Mutual Insurance presents Legends of the Game. In 1965, an explosive rookie burst upon the scene to spark the imagination of Chicago Bear fans. The Kansas Comets set Bear standards that still stand with 22 touchdowns, including 6 in one game. Who was this legend?
Ryerson again does not have a deep receiver. Dumps it off, trying to get to Eddie Brown and running a short pattern. And now the Bengals have to punt the ball, and Denver will have time to work for perhaps another score.
Broncos going with 6 defensive backs, a linebacker, and a 4-man rush. They weren't really interested in pressuring Boomer Esiason, is making sure no receiver got deeper than her deepest 3. Now you're a master at that defense, got it done. And now Jeff Hayes, although he's had a good day punting, not a very good average for the season. Broncos should get good field position here.
Chris Barr has kicked a field goal for the Raiders at Los Angeles. And they now trail the big underdogs, the Eagles, 13-10 in the second quarter. Hayes steps in and unloads into the mile-high atmosphere, and the ball is going to be taken at the 32-yard line. There is a penalty marker down, though, and they might have roughed the punter.
That's exactly what they did. It was Steve Wilson. He ran into the punter, so the ideas were good. Wilson came from right up the gut. Very hard to avoid the punter. You'll see him coming from the left. Hayes gets it off in a hurry. Watch the contact. Once that leg is up, that's an automatic first down, too, Don.
Running into the kicker, number 45, defense, automatic first down.
That's the only mistake I think Denver's made in the first half. They've given up some big plays, but for the most part played very well.
But they haven't given up any of those big plays in a while. Their defense is getting stronger as the game wears on, and the Broncos capitalizing on the one mistake Cincinnati has made, a fumbled punt, and subsequently turned into John Elway's third touchdown throw. He's thrown 3 to 3 different receivers as with 30 seconds left, Boomer Esiason is going to be called in the grass. They're going to get him on a sack back at the 18-yard line. He's been sacked now 22 times this season.
Carl Mecklenburg on the sack. First time we've called his name today, and that's the first sack for Denver. The clock stops with a sack and inside 2 minutes to reset everybody. So now I think the Bengals probably just going to snap it. See, here's the problem. Denver gets the ball to start the second half. They end the first half with points on the board, and they get the ball to start the second half. No play.
Nope. Bengals are going to take it to the locker room and try to regroup as they'll go in trailing the Broncos 24 to 14. So John Elway hits some big throws. 3 touchdown passes for John Elway to 3 different receivers. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
We welcome those of you who have watched John Elway's 3 touchdown passes give Denver the 24-14 halftime lead over Cincinnati at Mile High Stadium. Bob Costas with Paul McGuire and Ahmad Rashad. The Bengals need to rally in order to maintain a tie with Cleveland atop the AFC Central. Cleveland has already won today. We'll tell you about that in a moment. Game going on elsewhere. Philadelphia and the Raiders at the Coliseum, not yet to halftime. Philadelphia with a 13-10 lead. Fulton Walker, a punt return, 70 yards for a Raider touchdown. Greg Garrity, a 76-yard punt return for a Philadelphia score. Atlanta and Miami have gone to the third at the Orange Bowl. The Falcons lead at 10-0. Gerald Riggs has a touchdown and already 80 yards rushing in the game. He's gone over 1,000 for the season. Earlier today, the Bears went to 11-2. It wasn't easy. They beat Pittsburgh in overtime. The Bears have clinched in the NFC Central, and Pittsburgh loses in OT for the 2nd consecutive week. Here's Mike Tomczak in at quarterback now with Jim McMahon out for the season. Walter Payton, who had a fumble at the 2 to thwart a Bear drive early, goes in the 4th quarter for the tying touchdown, evens it up at 10. Now in overtime, here is Kevin Butler drilling home a 42-yarder. That gives the Bears the win at 13-10. Butler had hit the upright with a 29-yard attempt toward the end of regulation that could have won it right there, so he redeems himself in overtime, and the Bears win at 13-10. Ahmad?
Once again, the Bears having problems with their offense, putting a lot of pressure on their defense. But I mentioned in the feature that when the going gets tough, they go to Payton. He carried the ball 31 times for 90 yards, caught 5 passes, and they still are having problems with that offense. As a matter of fact, in the overtime, they elected to kick off and feature their defense.
The Rams featured their defense, or is it the Jets' lack of offense suddenly? 2nd straight game where the Jet offense has managed but 3 points. The Rams win it by a score of 17-3. There's Bud Carson, the defensive coordinator for the Jets. He looks on as the Jets get perhaps their best scoring opportunity in the 1st quarter. Ken O'Brien will throw a 32-yard pass to Wesley Walker, but at the 1-yard line he's hit. The ball pops free. Jerry Gray recovers in the end zone for the Rams, and the Jets come up empty. Then in the 2nd quarter, after throwing 2 interceptions early, Jim Everett out of the shotgun finds the former Tampa Bay All-Pro Kevin House, who has found a new home in Anaheim. He gallops 60 yards for the touchdown, a 7-0 Ram lead. It's been this kind of day for the Jets. They have only 10 men on the field defensively as the Rams line up at the 5-yard line. There's Jim Stuckey along the sideline trying to decide whether he should come into the game or not. Meanwhile, with only 10 defenders, Eric Dickerson with a change of direction. He goes in from 4 yards out. Dickerson had 107 yards on the day. The Rams beat the Jets 17-3. Paul?
Well, if Stuckey would have come in, if you take a look at the film, he'd have been offside. So it wouldn't have made any difference. The Jets, they found a 3-point play that they have in basketball now. They've had 3 points the last 2 games. They just cannot score a touchdown. Everybody talked about how bad, the defense is banged up, and they can't play without a good defense. All of a sudden, now the offense has gone to pot. O'Brien is not getting the people downfield they used to get down.
You know, this is very unbecoming. You're wrong about them 7-8 weeks in a row. You're right now twice, and you're gloating.
No, I'm not gloating. I think it's a great football team. I really do.
When you're right, you're right.
All right.
Wrong.
Let's move along. New England suddenly is in a first-place tie with the Jets. They're each 10-3 in the AFC East. New England wins their 7th in a row, 21-20 at the Superdome against the Saints. Washington, on a Max Zendejas field goal of 27 yards with 4 seconds to play, beats the Cardinals 2017. Lomax and Schrader each threw 2 touchdown passes. Buffalo ends their 22-game road losing streak. If they had lost today at KC, they would have equaled Houston's league record for road futility. The last time they won on the road before today, December of '83 at Arrowhead, and they do it again, 17-14. 2 Jim Kelly touchdown passes to Andre Reed. Cleveland wins in overtime for the 2nd straight week. Their new place kicker, Mark Mosley, with a 30-yarder toward the end of OT. They beat Houston 13-10, so for the moment, Cleveland is a half game ahead of the Bengals in the AFC Central. The Browns had 6 interceptions against Houston today. San Diego beat Indianapolis 17-3, the Chargers' 3rd win of the year. The Colts are 0-13. And Minnesota over Tampa Bay 45-13. Wade Wilson, in place of the injured Tommy Kramer, threw 3 touchdown passes for the Vikings, who are now 7-6. We'll be back to relive some memories from Super Bowl I after this from your local stations. This January, it'll be 20 years since they played Super Bowl I in Los Angeles. The Kansas City Chiefs, coached by Hank Stram, against Vince Lombardi's Green Bay Packers. Boyd Dowler was out that day. In came the veteran Max McGee. Look at this catch, reaching back to beat Willie Mitchell. And the Hammer, Fred Williamson, appears on the scene a bit too late to stop him. Even though the Chiefs lost 35-10, the Hammer still looked good that day and thereafter. Fred Williamson and Max McGee join us now in the studio. Max, you were nearing the end of your career and, in fact, had caught just 4 passes during the year when you latched on to 7 in the Super Bowl game.
Well, I was actually beyond the end of my career as far as football, but I'll tell you, I'm glad I got in that day because otherwise I wouldn't be here today.
Despite the great career you had, it was that one Super Bowl game, really, that distinguishes you in the public's memory, right?
Nobody ever asked anything else about the other 300 I dropped, you know, just that one I got in the Super Bowl.
Well, let me ask you this. I saw you quoted some places saying you'd established a different kind of NFL record even before the Super Bowl. 11 consecutive curfews missed without being caught.
Well, Horning started that rumor because he was with me, see. So, well, I was not exactly a real curfew guy, but, you know, we were in pretty good shape. You work for Vince Lombardi, you're ready to play every Sunday.
How would Lombardi react to somebody like you or a Horning, he himself a disciple of discipline and you guys free spirits?
You know, I think there's a misconception of Vince Lombardi. I think he would have liked to have as much fun as we did. He just didn't show that side. He had a great side to him that was, he liked to play golf for $5 Nassau, and he liked to go to Las Vegas and gamble, and I think people didn't know that, but he was actually a fun-loving guy.
We've got some footage here of Lombardi greeting the troops toward the end of his Packer career at the beginning of a training camp. Let's take a look. Vince Lombardi in the late 60s.
My name is Vince Lombardi. I want to welcome you to the Green Bay Packers. Last year, the Green Bay Packers won an unprecedented 3rd successive world title. The Green Bay Packers have won 5 world championships in the last 8 years.
Was that a typical Lombardi address, or was that watered down for the cameras?
I think that was watered down because, I tell you, he was the most inspirational coach, of course, I probably up to that time, and maybe still, but when he gave a speech, I've actually seen in big games when, you know, when he said, all right, let's get out and get them, I've seen guys run through their locker, push the door down the wrong way. You know, he had that kind of effect on people, and I think that's the reason he won 5 world championships.
Is it true that the key about Lombardi was not so much his skill as a tactician, although obviously he excelled there, but his ability to make people play beyond the potential they thought they had?
I think so, and I think we called it coaching by intimidation. He did intimidate some of the people and made them play better than they really were. And I think if you look at guys like Fuzzy Thurston, Jerry Kramer, they went out and played better than maybe they were capable of, but that's the kind of coach he was.
Let's turn to the Hammer here. You guys represent the AFL against a team that's already legendary, the Packers. It's the first Super Bowl. Well, nobody gives you a chance.
It was really the only Super Bowl. I think that was the Super Bowl. What we play now, what we see now is an image of the Super Bowl. There was the best of the American Football League against the best of the National Football League. You don't, today it's the AFC and NFC. I think that was the only Super Bowl.
And what was the feeling? You guys representing the upstart league, what was the feeling coming in?
Well, you know, when you're asking me, you're talking to an individual, because I didn't think like the other guys. I thought like Fred Williamson. I had seek and destroy on my mind. They, you know, to me, I was the villain of the Super Bowl. Don't talk to the press. So I was the Pied Piper. They followed me around because I was the only guy talking to the press. I mean, Green Bay Packers meant nothing to me. Boyd Dowell meant nothing to me. Max McGee, who was Max McGee? I mean, I could cover Max McGee in my mind. I mean, whether or not I could or could not was totally unimportant. This is how I felt about the game. Meanwhile, the coach is saying, be quiet. You're going to make them angry, and you're going to fire them up for this game. And I said, hey, we didn't sneak into town. They know we're here. We came in a big jet. It made a lot of noise. They know we're here. So I was the villain, man. I was the Pied Piper. So everything I did was wrong and right at the same time.
Did he make you guys angry?
Well, I tell you, we had a lot of fun with it because he did, you know, Vince jumped on that immediately because Freddie came out as the Hammer, and I'm going to bust up all these helmets. And, you know, those helmets are pretty hard to break, but I think it added something to that game, really, and Vince took a big hold on that.
Who was it who hit you and put you out of the game?
No, that's wrong. It's another person. That didn't happen to me.
Well, let's watch.
Yeah, let's watch. It was,
Go ahead and talk.
It was Donnie Anderson making a sweep. See me come up, or you'll see me come up, get past the guard,
right,
make a tackle. My knee, his knee hit me on the top of the head. That was Anderson. Now I'm embarrassed. I'm down.
You know who got hurt?
I saw this later. They went crazy. The Green Bay Packers jumping up and down. Said, they got the hammer. They got the hammer. So I was embarrassed. I was down, and I was embarrassed, and I didn't want to get up. And they said, get up. And I said, I'm not. If you want me, I'm not going to stagger off this field. I'm not going to wobble off this field. If you want me off the field, carry me. And they carried me, and they dumped me on the sidelines. And I jumped up and waved at my fans and let them know I was all right.
It was only 14-10 Packers at the half, as I recall, although they went on to win 35-10. And a few years later, the Jets and then the Chiefs in Super Bowl IV beat the NFL representatives.
Right.
How close were you guys at the very beginning? Was it closer than those scores indicated?
Yeah, we were in the game all the way. I think that you're not going to change our game plan because we have this big game. We're going to do everything that brought us here. We're not going to change our play. We had more plays. We had more new plays than we had old plays. I mean, not to say anything against Stram's coaching, but you know, they were playing Otis Taylor 12 yards deep. And I said, well, you know, you take 10 passes, 10 yards deep, you got 100 yards, just score a touchdown. They kept trying to go long on Herb. When Herb was playing 12 yards deep. And I said, why? Why are you throwing these short passes, these long passes? And he said, sit down.
So McGee could become a hero. 15 seconds here, 2 quick questions. Did you feel you were much superior to the Chiefs and then the Raiders in those 2 Super Bowl games?
No, I don't think we thought those 2 teams were very good. We thought the rest of the league was not up to par, but the 2 best teams that we played were very good teams. They had a lot of all-pro players there, but with Vince Lombardi, we had the best of it.
And your latest project on the silver screen. I know television is too small to contain your compelling personality. It's the big screen that's required.
Thank you for saying that, because if I said that, they would take offense to that. My next film is The Messenger is coming out. I'm eliminating dope pushers on the street vigilante style, and then I'm off now to Rome to do one called Black Cobra.
And a King Cobra jacket adorning the body of the Hammer. Understated and modest as always. NFL 86 halftime activities will continue.
The Broncos have a 10-point halftime lead after trailing Cincinnati twice in the first half, and Trumpet has been shutting down those Bengal big plays, which Cincinnati got early. That's really keyed Denver's go-ahead.
Those 10 big plays result in 182 yards. But the problem with the Bengals in the first half, 2 glitches against a great team. They take advantage of it. The Broncos had a 3rd down and 6. Defensive lineman Scow jumps off sides. They catch him. The Broncos come back and convert the 1st down. Jackson scores. Then Ray Horton fumbles the punt return, and Sammy Winder goes in to score. That's all Denver needs.
Well, right now, Denver with a 10-point lead to start the 3rd quarter. The pressure building on Cincinnati as Cleveland was an overtime winner today. And right now we're ready to kick it off as John Elway's on the sideline, but he'll be in there shortly, firing the ball again, having a big day with 3 touchdown passes in the first half. Browns were a 3-point winner at the close of overtime. Mark Mosley hitting a field goal that won it over the Houston Oilers. So the Browns go to 9-4. Here comes Ken Bell. He finds a crack. And Bell breaks it up the middle. A free agent return man gets it out to the 47-yard line. So right now the Broncos are on fire and the Bengals have a big problem.
38-yard return by Bell. Psychologically, the points at the end of the first half, the turnover by Ray Horton, flat turned this game in favor of Denver. That's all they needed. Now with 24 points on the scoreboard, I would imagine Dan Reeves would be very, very conservative with his offense. Bengals are really in a tough spot right here.
Vance Johnson, he's caught a touchdown pass his flank near side. Watson comes off the far side as the Broncos go to the run. Tim Crumry, the nose tackle, made the stop. As you look at the first half numbers, total yards close, but the mistakes that the Bengals made in the second quarter led to Cincinnati falling behind by 10.
Those numbers for Cincinnati somewhat deceiving because of all of the big plays.
Bengals going with Eddie Edwards and Ross Browner. Two former #1 draft choices are at defensive ends. Crumry, the nose tackle. Emmanuel King on the outside looks like he's ready to blitz, but a pitch back comes near to Wilhite. And Wilhite is taken down by Reggie Williams, an 11-year veteran from another of those football factories, Dartmouth.
Bengals right now in a spot where they pretty much have to take chances. Try the blitz. Try to come up with a turnover. If they don't, this is exactly the kind of football game that the Denver Broncos win and win often. Leading, home field. They've won 24 of the last 28 home games. They got it just the way they want it.
Elway sets his big tight end Orson Mobley out wide to the left. Mobley running a downfield pattern. Here's a throw to Wilhite underneath, and he's ahead for a Bronco first down to the 42-yard line of Cincinnati.
Well, I'll tell you, somebody, I think Sammy Winder got away with one. He tackled Reggie Williams. Wilhite, a splendid receiver, very quick. He just stands there and waits. Now watch him make that first guy. He tries to get by that first tackler. Arnie Bussey makes the tackle. Denver does that all over the field. Just dump it off and have great athletes break tackles, turn them into big games.
Elway just his fourth season, ready to break all the passing records this year. Completion record of Craig Morton will fall soon.
Screen.
It's another screen near side to Wilhite. Reggie Williams with a good play in the open field stops the play for on a make it now second down and 12 play, and Wilhite is again slow to get up.
Read very well by Reggie Williams. He drops back in coverage. Now number 70, Dave Sutter, the offensive tackle, comes out, tries to block Williams. And Williams fights it off and is there to make the tackle. One of the few times the screen's not worked today for Denver. This is a half roll right. Elway sneaks a pair. Wilhite sneaks a peek. Loss of 8 yards.
Elway, a lot of time to unload that cannon. Throwing a strike, but Mobley loses it. 260-pound rookie from Salem College can't hold it, and that stops the clock with 11:52 to play in the third quarter. Eagles go to the locker room as a surprise halftime leader at the Coliseum over the Raiders. And Atlanta leading Miami in the third quarter, 10-0. This game went back and forth. Broncos scored first, 3-0. Carlos field goal. Then the Bengals came back on the ensuing drive and took it in on a 20-yard touchdown run by Wilson. They led 7-3. Broncos led again 10-7. Cincinnati led 14-10, but since then, Denver has been in command and leads by 10 now, 24-14. Elway so dangerous on the run, and there he goes. Bailing out.
First down.
Standing salute for John Elway as he runs it for 13 yards when there was no receiver open.
Last week against the Giants, he ran for a career-high 51 yards. He's got all kinds of time here to throw. Emmanuel King, number 90, almost gets him. He looks to that first down marker, and a nice slide for it, keeping the drive alive.
Elway, the lead pick in that famed draft of '83. But it wasn't the Broncos who drafted him. You remember it was the Colts, the Baltimore Colts then, who traded him. Traded signing rights to Denver. Second pick that year was another great one, Eric Dickerson. Winder takes the ball inside the 30-yard line down to the 28.
Well, I'm telling you, if the Denver Broncos don't turn the ball over, and they have had that problem in the last 6 or 7 weeks, but if they don't turn it over the rest of the game, this game is over. This Bronco offense can just nickel and dime, and with Elway's athletic ability, can get you out of a trouble spot with that 13-yard run extending the drive. Long second half for the Bengals.
David Studdard and Ken Lanier the tackles, Keith Bishop and Paul Howard the guards, Billy Bryan, the veteran center for Denver. Another throw and a catch. This time Clarence Kay holds on, and he's down to the 10-yard line. Clarence Kay comes in the game and makes the reception.
Had the flu this week. Is back and healthy. You can see he's kind of winded. Watson takes Lewis Breeden 34 deep. There you see the reception right underneath it. And this is this Dan Reeves offense. They run so many multiple formations, motion. They don't throw the ball deep down the middle. They try to make a high percentage completion. This is a Denver ball game from here on out.
And a load of offensive sets the Broncos are showing the Cincinnati defense. Winder, he's going to go in. And Sammy Winder has his second touchdown of the day, and the route may be out.
Excellent pull by Howard and Lanier, 60 and 76. There's basically no one there. Desperation try for a tackle by Joe Kelly, but this is absolutely Denver Bronco football.
They have taken over the game, and really that fumbled punt turned it around. They scored right after that to extend their lead to 10, and they've dominated since. Carlos with the extra point, and the Broncos extend their lead to 31-14. We'll be back with the Denver kickoff after this. Sam White's and the Bengals in trouble now, Trump, as they're down 31-14. Denver making it happen fast, getting the third quarter kickoff. Bell ran it back 42 yards, and then the Broncos were quickly in the end zone 9 plays later from 55 yards out on an 11-yard run by Winder. Joe Collier on the sideline pacing it. He has put this Denver defense together that was closing down the Bengals. Everybody on the Denver team inspired now as the defense comes out to try to shut down Cincinnati again. Bengals led twice in this game, but they got to go to the all-out passing game now.
Which sends Denver in their all-out passing defense. Pressure. Sison not had a bad day in the first half. Bengals have had 3 straight 400-yard offensive days coming into the day.
Eddie Brown comes to the near side. They've closed him off. Louis Wright, a 5-time Pro Bowler, across from him at the lower portion of the screen. Throwing a strike. Collinsworth, free ball.
Hundley made the hit. Now, how are they going to determine who has possession of the football? Pointed yet.
Greg Cragen's walking around with it. The nose tackle.
I have not seen the officials point possession yet.
How they give it? Jerry Marquardt, the referee. And so the Broncos make it happen on defense. They give their offense the ball at the 25-yard line of Cincinnati.
This was a heck of a hit by Ricky Hundley, 98. When Collinsworth turns inside, Hundley is right there, goes through him. Ball is still loose. Reagan looks like he's been over at number 71. Harden also there, 31. Jackson, 57. Second turnover of the day for the Broncos. And they've got it.
Greg Cragen, the nose tackle, Trump, is credited with the fumble recovery, but it was Hundley with a big strike on Collinsworth. He's giving away about 60 or 70 pounds to Hundley. And so Cincinnati's defense under the gun again as the Broncos come out. First down and 10 at the 26-yard line. Will Hart. 19-yard line. He got 7. Crumry again downfield to make the tackle. The 275-pound nose guard.
They just faced a drive of almost 5 minutes by the Broncos to score. Now the Bengal defense back out on the field. the two phases of the Bengal team, offense and defense, that's the one you want on the sideline the most. And in the second half, they've been on the field the most.
Wilhite and Winder both getting a lot of work out of the backfield. Lance Johnson goes in motion. Gerald Wilhite takes it ahead. Second down and 4 play and got maybe a yard. But the Broncos now running the clock with a 31-14 lead. They led 24-14 at halftime. The clock down to 8:55 and running. Broncos started this season winning their first 6 games, won 7 of their first 8. And then they've come a cropper in the last couple of weeks as their offense has not done well, losing 2 of their last 3 games. Prone ball and a good catch by Wilhite, who's down to the 16-yard line. Carl Zander hit him. Wilhite taking a beating, but coming back for more.
Just enough for a first down, Don. Excellent call. Very high percentage play. The running back simply goes down, feels where that yard marker is, turns around, and Elway hits him.
31-14 lead, and they boo it because they didn't get a lot of yards.
Not a bad call, though, actually. Try to spread the defense out. Try to pop Winder up through there. Just a good tackle by Carl Zander for very little gain. Now, this is where Denver is most dangerous. Third down and long yardage. The only guy you don't account for in the defense is the quarterback. And Elway's had a couple of big runs for first downs today.
To get it to Gerald Wilhite at the 11-yard line. Clock stopped with 6:39 to play in the third quarter. John Elway's numbers, handsome indeed. He came in with 16 touchdown throws, or he has 16 now for the season, against 9 interceptions, 3 today. But he'd been in a slump. The offense had not been moving the ball. They did score a lot of points 2 games ago, and they blew out Kansas City here 38-17. Broncos are tough to catch when they're coming off a loss. They were beaten the week before 9-3, and maybe the biggest upset of this season when San Diego came in and won, holding the Broncos to a field goal. This will be a 33-yard field goal by Rich Carlos. Everyone is going right today for the Broncos as they extend their lead to 34-14. The Bengals will try again when we come back to Mile High. Don Craigie with Bob Trumpy back at Mile High Stadium. Big games can turn on one mistake. This one has. That fumble punt by Ray Horton, and now the Broncos have run up 24 unanswered points.
It's come down to mistakes by the Bengals that allowed the Denver Broncos to get in the position they're in. And with their defense, with Joe Collier and the pressure they'll put on Cincinnati, you can just head for home right now. I don't think Cincinnati, there is any way they can get back in this football game, unfortunately.
Awful tough to throw the ball on Denver when they've got the rush on and you have to throw it. McGee takes a tremendous strike. Woodard, 52, a backup linebacker, came down, made the head-on pop as McGee, going full speed, was knocked backwards.
The emotion is gone from Cincinnati. They helped. They kind of gave it to the emotion to the Denver Broncos, and now the Broncos are taking advantage of it, really popping them. Last pass, of course, completed by Esiason, fumbled by Chris Collinsworth. And pretty obvious why the score is what it is.
The Bengals came in a very optimistic team. They would win this game. Right now they're in deep trouble. Here's a home run ball, and Eddie Brown slowed his head, and it's picked off by Louis Wright. Louis Wright picks it off, his 3rd interception of the season. They give the Louis cry, and one of Cincinnati's best players, although he hasn't been today, they haven't gotten the ball to him. Eddie Brown limps off.
And you're right, Eddie Brown slowed down. He saw the double coverage, didn't think Boomer Esiason would throw it his direction. Boomer did. First interception of the day by the Broncos, but the 3rd turnover. Ball should not have been thrown. Double coverage. Trying to get it in one play. Louis Wright comes up with the interception. And so far, the Bengals' possession in the 3rd quarter, now about 36 seconds.
He's been doing it for a long time here in Denver. The #1 draft choice of the Broncos back in 1975. Mr. Wright. Now Elway at the controls again as Denver looks to pile it on, leading by a 34-14 count. Gene Lang cutting back is cut down to the 31-yard line.
Congratulations, Louis. Thank you. That was a pretty easy pickings. He was back there playing almost the center fielder. Sometimes quarterbacks try to do too much, and in that situation, that's exactly what Boomer did. Tried to make something out of nothing.
Vance Johnson near flank. He's deep speed. An NCAA long jump champion. Elway's looking at him. Now Elway's got time to count the house as he throws downfield a winder, and there's a penalty marker after the play. It's like an interference call against the Bengals.
Reggie Williams was the man in coverage. When you give a quarterback, any quarterback.
Pass interference, number 57, defense, first down.
When you give any quarterback enough time, he's going to put the defense at a real disadvantage. Eventually, the foot speed of Sammy Winder is going to get him open. It was not much contact, but nevertheless, contact, penalty stands. And the Broncos got it going their way. This is like a scrimmage now.
There was a heavy snowstorm here in Denver earlier this morning. 7 inches fell. The field was covered. It's been perfect throughout. Snow has stopped. The temperature down to about 30 degrees now. As Sammy Winder takes it on and brings it out to the 50-yard line. Right now, I think, Trump, the Bengals are pretty well spent defensively. I don't know if it's psychological when you come to the Mile High City, but a lot of teams lose their gusto in the second half.
Well, think what's happened, though, in the second half. The Broncos come out and go score. The Bengals come out, complete a pass, it's fumbled. Defense comes out again. Offense comes back out, throw an interception. Defense comes out again. Yeah, it's going to wear them out in a hurry.
Marker is down in the secondary as the pass you see incomplete to Steve Watson.
People ask a lot why, when a defense is on the field for a long time, they seem to get more tired than the offense. The answer is defense is a game of reaction. If the ball goes 40 yards.
Illegal use of the hands. Hands to the face. 24. Defense.
Rookie cornerback Lewis Phillips called for the foul, so the ball is advanced to the 46-yard line. It's a first down for Denver.
Once again, the defense has to react. If the ball goes 20 yards down the field, and it's Tony Lilly on the sideline being attended to. That looks like Keith Bishop being attended to also. Anyway, is that who it is? Studdard? Yeah, Studdard, the offensive tackle. I'll continue in a minute.
Broncos ready to continue right now, although they left early. Clarence Kay was offside. Elway so quick a foot, you don't get a shot at him, or very rarely when he comes downfield, because he gets to the 12th man, the sideline, and bails out. But the tight end Clarence Kay left early.
To continue my thought on a defense being worn out, it takes a lot more energy to react, and that's the defensive side of the ball, than it does to act, and that's the offensive side of the ball. No player can take a play off defensively. Offensively, you can take a couple of plays off. You don't have to follow the ball down the field. That's why defenses get so tired on long, extended offensive drives.
Here's Jerry McBride, the referee.
Illegal motion, number 88, offense, first down.
Game clock shows 4:37 to play. Broncos in the lead 34-14 after leading by 10 points at the half. They have scored 24 straight points in this game. They were behind twice in the first half. Next week, the Broncos go into Kansas City for a second meeting with the Chiefs. Gene Lang takes it down to the 48-yard line of Cincinnati. Leo Barker in the game makes the play for the Bengals. Talking about Trump, Cincinnati being an optimistic team, Sam White said during the week, We want to win the division. We don't want the consolation prizes going in as a wild card. They build up their record to 8-4, which is more wins than they had last year. But today it all came apart, and really a big game turned on one mistake, a fumble in the second quarter.
That's when the 20, actually it was the offside, started the 24 points for the Denver Broncos. And since then,
drive alive. But the killer, I think, was Horton and fumbling the punt back inside his 20, and they were back in the end zone again. Now Elway dumping it off. It's low, but it's caught by Gene Lang, and he's down to the 41-yard line. Second down and 12 play. Brings up 3rd and 8.
Again, time for the quarterback to sit back there, watch his deep receivers if they're covered, find the outlet receivers, and eventually the foot speed of a guy like Gene Lang is going to beat a Leo Barker. Look at that. Both of those plays, too, a fumble and an interception for the Bengals.
Watson on the right flank. And Vance Johnson, or Mark Jackson, now comes to the near side. Phillips on a blitz. And Lewis Phillips finally gets Elway. They sack him for the first time, and it took a cornerback blitz to get him.
Cincinnati pretty much in a position where they got to do anything in the playbook defensively. Try to block the punt, come with the corner blitz, create the turnover, to have any chance to get back in this ball game, as remote as it might be.
Now Ray Horton goes back as Mike Horan's ready to punt the ball. The new punter for the Broncos. Horton's last try was that fumble in the second quarter. Hits it high spiral downfield, and Horton signals for a fair catch. Holds on this time, but back at his 11. So the Bengal problems mount. They get the ball, but they're 89 yards. See how the Broncos season had gone. At Veterans Stadium, they scored a 26-point win over the Eagles. Today, Denver has opened up a 34-14 lead over the Cincinnati Bengals. As we pointed out, the Bengals led twice in the first half. Now they're forced into an all-out throwing game, catch-up ball if they can, and it hasn't been working. Last time, Dyson put the long ball up, Louis Wright intercepted. James Brooks runs it at Denver and gets it out to the 16-yard line.
Now consider this for the Bengals, their last 4 possessions, beginning back in the second quarter. They fumbled, had a -2 yards on a possession, and then they fumbled again, and then the interception. Now this is, if the 30-second clock gets down to 10, this is the longest they've had it in the third quarter.
Playoff chances of the Bengals dealt a serious blow today. The Browns won. They went to 9-4 at their overtime victory over the Oilers. The Bengals way behind, and they have to go to New England next Sunday. But right now, Esiason stands in and lets it go. Hollinsworth with the ball. And he's out to the 36-yard line, a first down for Cincinnati.
Tony Lilly and Rick Hundley there to make the tackle, a 19-yard catch. You can see the Broncos going with a total zone. 57 Jackson outside, Hundley inside, Esiason with time, and then the defense gets there. Dennis Smith also on an assist.
Hollinsworth, a very reliable player. He went to the Pro Bowl 3 of his first 4 years in the league. Now in his 5th season. Wilson, a quick back from Oklahoma, gets across the 45-yard line. It's another Cincinnati first down, and they stop the clock with a minute to play in the third quarter.
The Broncos more than willing to stay back, not takes chances, just play that total zone.
The earlier scores today, a couple of overtime games. The Bears and the Browns were overtime winners. Tampa Bay having a forgettable year. Raiders have now come back and have gone in front of Philadelphia. Swing pass to James Brooks in the open field. Tony Lilly draws a bead, and then he's knocked out of bounds at the 43-yard line. But it's a gain of 11 yards. It's another Cincinnati first down.
It's also a little too late. Down 34-14. This is more what the defense is allowing Cincinnati to do than what Cincinnati is taking.
Got to play the whole thing out. Remember the Raiders the other night at San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
Led 31-10 in the third quarter.
How about Green Bay versus Minnesota?
That was beyond belief.
Excuse me, Green Bay versus Detroit on Thanksgiving Day.
Sometimes the weather changes things, although it looks like the snowfall will hold off. Much more has been predicted. Esiason. Nobody there. On the run, he gets it out to Collinsworth, who catches the ball and goes out of bounds at the 34-yard line. Probably the toughest catch of this day, either way.
Kept his feet in bounds, too. Tony Lilly there to push him out of bounds. Esiason has only been sacked once today, so the offensive line hadn't done too bad a job. Jones comes in with 13.5 sacks, and that's Joe Walter doing a pretty good job on.
How about a real good job?
A very good pass rusher. Collinsworth trying to find a spot where Boomer Esiason can see him and the catch.
The Bengals, who need badly to get in the end zone and fast, now go to the run. Straight up the middle. A driving tackle is put on Ricky Hundley, who leads the team in tackles, makes the strike, knocking down Stanford Jennings. As the game clock down to 30 seconds to play in the third quarter, and the Broncos in command 34-14.
Hundley not only leads the Denver Broncos in tackles, but also in assists. Was drafted by Cincinnati, traded to Denver for what turned out to be Tim McGee and David Fulcher.
Throwing a catch to McGee. He is down to the 26-yard line. Gain of 6 yards on the play. There have been a lot of wild endings over the years here in Denver. One year the Bills of Buffalo came in, led Denver at halftime 38-7. Big snowstorm, and the Broncos scored 31 points to tie it.
The trenches.
We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
That time of possession, almost all of the third quarter for the Denver Broncos. That's been the difference.
They don't pay off on total yards, though. Bottom line on the scoreboard, 34-14 Denver. Broncos have had 56 plays already in this game. The 37 for Cincinnati. Now the Bengals go to that sideline offense where they go right out into alignment after a sideline conference with Coach Sam White. James Brooks in trouble as big Kyle Mecklenburg throws him down. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Denver Broncos and the National Football League is prohibited.
Well, they got some confusion. Esiason's trying to go up the line of scrimmage, and White's trying to send players in.
We're in the first minute of the fourth quarter. Throwing a catch to Collinsworth as he is down inside to the 7-yard line. So the Bengals making some stuff happen, and they need a lot more to get back in this.
Again, Esiason rolling against his arm to the right side. Collinsworth just trying to find a spot back in there in the defense. He gets kind of lost. There's Mark Haynes, 36, and Wilson there, along with Lilly to make the tackle. First and goal, Bengals.
First and goal it is. Dave Remington, the center. Montoya and Kozerski, two huge guards. Munoz and Walter, the tackles. They're even bigger. Crowd starts up, wanting to keep Cincinnati out. Esiason, he's looking. He fires. It's caught and lost by Chris Collinsworth. Had it, and Tony Lilly stripped the ball from him.
That is a great defensive play by Tony Lilly. The game started with a big play by Dennis Smith, knocking a pass reception away. This is a sure touchdown. Lilly waits on him. Now watch. Just pulls his left arm away. Collinsworth can't hang on to it.
So it'll be second down and goal from the 7-yard line. Bengals down. They've not scored in a long time since the first half of the second quarter. Cincinnati's longest drive of the game right now. Esiason in trouble. He can go. Defenders wait for him. He fires on the run. It's a touchdown to Collinsworth. And the Bengals come down the field with still 13:20 to play. It is now a 34-20 game.
We said it before with John Elway. It's also true with Boomer Esiason. Both are great creators, and if you give a quarterback time, eventually the receiver can find a spot open. Collinsworth, you should see his feet at the back of the end zone. He gets away from the defender. An excellent move. Mark Haynes, 36, I believe, had him. And Collinsworth makes the catch.
Big day for Chris. He's caught 6 for 62 yards. Now Breach is on to try the point after. Lazar sharp down the middle, and so the Bengals inch back into it and take the crowd out of the game, at least for now. It's a 34-21 game, Denver. But the Broncos offense gets it in a moment.
Momentum was not stopped going forward. We may have a reversal here. He's asking, did somebody blow the whistle? Said, did somebody blow the whistle? He's asking. They're waiting to look. There's the umpire. He's in communication with the replay. The communicator from the replay booth says it will.
Might be Cincinnati's ball.
It's going to go as a fumble.
It's definitely a fumble, we're told, but they're trying to find out if the whistle blew. I don't know how the whistle can blow when he's not down and he's going forward.
I think that's inconsequential. If the whistle is blown before, then they don't go to the replay guy. This is what makes the replay system look bad. They're asking afterwards, did the whistle blow? They should have asked before, did the whistle blow?
The whistle was blown.
Come on.
First down.
That's poorly handled.
He asked if the whistle was blown. He was lobbying for a whistle to be blown.
That was a fumble. Saw the ball. He was not down, and he was still moving forward when he lost the ball. So the Broncos get it and hold to their 34-21 lead now. Gene Lang, he pays the price as the Cincinnati defense obviously up after the long drive by the offense that took them into the end zone. Atlanta still leading Miami. The Dolphins go back the other way after blowing out the Jets 45-3. The Eagles are staying right with the Raiders. It's now 24-20 in the third quarter at the Coliseum.
And here's what happened on that last fumble. The replay official said it was a fumble. Then the guys on the field said, how about a whistle? Anybody blow the whistle? That's the wrong order.
Now Elway dropping to throw. Downfield, he's got a man. Watson coming back at the ball as he's done so many times over the years with Elway. When John's in trouble, Watson comes back and Elway guns it.
Elway again. That great arm, carries the ball high. Good lesson for young quarterbacks. Keep it up there next to your ear where you can throw it in a split second. Elway does. Watson makes a nice reception.
Bengals have not gotten a break in this game. Denver has, and the Broncos have capitalized. They lead 34-21. With the Bengal defense now, the intensity level right back up to where it was early in the game.
Well, that touchdown helps with 11:44 and ticking to go in the football game.
Elway bringing his team in and out of the huddle at his leisure, running clock as much as he can. It's down to 11:30 to play in the game. Joey Hackett, another huge tight end, is in. He weighs 270. Mobley next to him, he weighs 265. Biggest guys in that offensive line are the tight ends of Denver. Elway on 2nd and 8. Another good throw. Joey Hackett takes it. That's the 270-pound tight end, a first-year player from Elon, and he's down to the 45-yard line of Cincinnati. David Fulcher slow getting up after he took on that load.
12-yard reception just designed to pick up the first down. Elway's latched onto him. Look at that. You're right, Don. Look at there. There are 3 linemen for the Broncos that don't weigh as much.
And he got downfield.
And
Game
he can
clock
catch it.
down to 10:33 and running. Fourth quarter. Broncos had a 24-point string, and then the Bengals came back to score, and now it's 34-21 Denver. Winder in trouble. He's smacked out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Let's watch that return again, the kickoff return by Denver that was questioned as a possible fumble.
Looking for a stoppage in his forward motion. No way the whistle blows in there. But the manner in which he was all handled was very shoddy. You don't ask second is the whistle blew. You could read Jerry Markwright's lips. Did the whistle blow? That's the wrong order in which the replay system should be utilized. But the play stood. Drive stays alive.
Now, second down, and Elway needs over 11. He's in trouble. Going in on John Elway on the run, and Zander knocks him out of bounds before he gets there. Carl Zander with a big defensive play.
Jim Anderson, the offensive backfield coach of the Bengals, stopped Elway from going into the bench.
A couple of years ago, when the Bengals opened the season here, Elway went out of the game when Ross Browner ran him down and injured his shoulder on a running play. Elway has now completed 19 of 27 for 188 yards. He's not been intercepted. 3 of his throws for touchdowns. He's run the ball twice for 19 yards. Well, let John do it's been the game plan in Denver, and he's been doing it. Now, third down. Throw and not close to a completion. And so the Bengals will get it back. The punter, Horan, comes out for Denver.
Clint Sampson was the intended receiver there open. Elway mad at himself that he couldn't make the completion.
Cincinnati's still in it with 10:08 to play. If they can move on this drive.
There'd have been a lot more in it if that fumble had gone as a fumble.
That was at the 34-yard line of Denver. Ray Horton is back. Fair caught the ball twice today and fumbled one of those, which the Broncos quickly turned into a touchdown. Horan angles it down to the corner. It goes in. Touchback. Cincinnati will go 1st and 10 at the Bengals 20. When we come back to Mile High Stadium, a salute to the Broncos.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
We got Billy just what he wanted. The Radio Shack 4x4 off-roader. Look at it take those hills. And Terry got the off-road champ. Look at her go. And guess what Mom got?
Okay, kid.
Lunch is ready.
And me, I'm the flashy type. Always wanted a Ferrari.
Radio-controlled toys for kids of all ages from $11.95. Only at Radio Shack.
The 35mm automatic one-touch from Nikon. It puts great photography at everybody's fingertips. The Nikon 35mm Action Touch. The waterproof, all-weather, automatic camera that puts great photography at everybody's fingertips.
Now here's your burger, and
Sometimes brakes can give you a gentle hint that they need a little work.
Take it to Midas.
Over 4 million people have trusted their brakes to Midas. Good price, good guarantee. We won't break you.
Whoops.
Take it to Midas.
Whoops.
Take it to someone you trust.
On 1986, Democrat Jim Wright, he's shrewd, hot-tempered, and the next Speaker of the House. Join Roger Mudd when he tangles with this tough Texan, Tuesday on 1986.
Don Quickie with Bob Trumpy back at Denver. The Broncos have not turned the ball over in this game, but they almost did.
Yeah, I thought on that kickoff return, the manner in which it should be handled is that if you blow the whistle, you don't go to the replay official. There you can see Ed Brady strips the ball from Kevin Bell. That is definitely a fumble, but the crew, I think, now around the NFL are using that whistle to stop the overturn of some plays.
Throwing a catch as again the underneath passing game of Esiason and the Bengals moves the ball.
And you mentioned that the Broncos have not turned the ball over today. They also have had just 2 penalties. They have played almost a perfect football game.
9:54 to play. And as they get out of bounds, you see Boomer Esiason, first Bengal quarterback to get 3,000 yards passing in consecutive seasons. He was the #2 rated passer in the entire league last year. Big, strong-arm left-hander from Maryland. In his 3rd year, he was the first quarterback pick, even though he came in the 2nd round of the Bengals. Another throw and catch. Brooks. And again, they used the sideline to stop the clock. 9:47 to play. First down throw, and they got 9. Atlanta still in command of favored Miami down at the Orange Bowl, and the Raiders holding on to a tight lead over the Philadelphia Eagles. Still in the 3rd quarter at the Coliseum. Starting the day, the Raiders, who'd won 8 of their last 9, were just 1 game behind Denver in the AFC West. We got a couple of courts low. Eddie Brown, how does he do it? Eddie Brown comes back at the ball and makes a stretched out reception down at the 46-yard line. And the Bengals drive on with 9:30 to play. Cincinnati is down by 13 points. They were down by 20 not that long ago.
That's a 13-yard reception. Esiason looking all over the place for an open receiver. Finally finds ground. This is an outstanding catch. Louis right on the tackle. Bengals back to the line of scrimmage and another offensive play.
Esiason changes the play. Crowd noise a major factor here. Again, strong pass blocking. Another throw, another catch. Collinsworth, he's going in. Chris Collinsworth is in. And the Bengals are back to within 7 points.
46-yard catch. No flags on the play. Last week, the Denver Broncos missed the coverage against the New York Giants and allowed Phil McConkey a long play down the field. Collinsworth this time, it looks like prevent defense, and somebody just misses it. They stay with Tim McGee, who came across. Looked like Dennis Smith, 49, was on the ground. Foley was the closest man to him. What a comeback.
Trump, I'm glad we didn't go home when you called this one over.
What a comeback. And the Broncos have not turned the ball over.
Not turned the ball over. And as you pointed out, only 2 penalties against them. Now Jim Breach can bring the Cincinnati Bengals back to within 6 with still almost 9 minutes to play. A stirring comeback by the Cincinnati Bengals. The extra point is up and good. As that time, it took the Bengals barely a minute, 61 seconds to go 80 yards. Collinsworth on the payoff in for a 2nd time. Away starts to fire on 1st down. And the big man, Mobley, the tight end, comes down with the ball. Orson Mobley, a house of a tight end.
Charles Zander on the tackle. It was just almost a hitch pattern by the tight end. Good enough for a 1st down. Boy, you get it in the hands of that guy. He's difficult to bring down.
Denver, when the Broncos have been on defense, has done an excellent job at jamming the Cincinnati receivers. But now here in the 4th quarter, the veteran Chris Collinsworth has been running free in the Denver secondary, and Esiason's been getting him the ball. The last time for 46 yards and a touchdown. Whoa. On 1st down, the carrier is Waffle. Sammy Winder hit hard. Now a penalty marker comes in after the play.
Jim Scow made the tackle. Conversation with the refereeing crew, and the flag is picked up. Will the penalty stand?
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 90.
That's Emmanuel King.
First time we've called his name all day.
Did you see something? There's a King right in front of you, number 90, when Sammy Winder makes the hit. Unfortunately, King goes out of the picture, but boy, that's a very expensive penalty for the Bengals at this point. Gives some emotion back to Denver.
Would have been 3rd down and long, but the Bengals now go to a defense set up against a 1st down offense of the Denver Broncos. Ball at the 47-yard line of the Broncos. Elway, lightning strike off the flank. Near side, Watson comes down to the 38-yard line.
Fulcher and Breeden, you can see the slant pattern by Watson, and both Breeden and Fulcher still on the ground. Watch Watson. Breeden has the outside leverage. Well, that's a tough catch. Watson knows he's going to get leveled, hangs onto the football. That's a 16-yard pickup. And when Denver's offense has had to make the big plays, they've done it.
Bengals have not gotten anything close to a break in this game. They're down by 6 after trailing by 20, but now Elway and the Broncos are driving again. Lang up the gut, right to the 34-yard line. Raiders still holding to that 4-point lead over the Eagles now in the 4th quarter at Los Angeles. Broncos using a lot of clock. Emmanuel King with a personal foul call. It might be critical in the outcome of this game. It kept the drive downfield for Denver, gave them a first down, and now the Broncos have driven down to the 35-yard line. Field goal would give them a 9-point lead. Elway screens it off, incomplete. Eddie Edwards was coming on the rush, 73. Tipped the ball.
Almost stuck in his face mask, Don. They were trying to set it up to Wilhite, it looked like.
Raiders came from behind in that game with the Eagles when Jim Plunkett threw a second touchdown pass to Jesse Hester. An 81-yard play. Raiders holding to a 24-20 lead. Now 3rd down for Elway and the Broncos. They need 7. 34-28 Denver. 6:13 to play. Elway gets it away, and it's broken up. Lewis Phillips, the rookie cornerback, comes up and pops Watson just as the ball comes in. Now will they punt it or go for a long field goal tried by Carlos?
And I think they got to punt the football. This is a little out of Carlos's range. This is a good play by Phillips, just getting Watson's hands down, and it looked like contact before the ball. Emmanuel King with pressure on Elway. He couldn't really follow through to get it there in a hurry, but what they need right now is a towering punt by Mr. Horan.
Mike Horan punting for the Broncos for the first time. Has had 4 there today. None have been returned. Ray Horton is back again. 6:06 to play in the game. The Bengals are going to get the ball back, trailing by 6. Horan angling near side. It'll go in. Out to the 20, and there the Cincinnati Bengals will go on offense again. They've scored touchdowns their last 2 possessions to trail by 6. Bengals have a tough one next Sunday. They go to Foxborough to take on the Patriots, who today won by a point at New Orleans to win their 7th straight game and tie the Jets for first in the AFC East, both at 10-3. The Cleveland Browns, who are right now the leader in the AFC Central, having won today at 9-4, their record. They go into Buffalo to play the Bills. That will not be easy for the Browns. Denver goes to Kansas City. The Chiefs always tough at home. Right now, that Rocky Mountain Thunder, the foot stamping, starts up at Mile High. Esiason looping it long. Downfield, he's got Collinsworth again out to the 43-yard line. And Collinsworth gets out of bounds with 5:53 to play. A 23-yard gain.
That's his 8th reception of the day. For some strange reason, the Denver Bronco defense has just gone to sleep here. 138 yards. We take away the turnovers by the Bengals, and they're right in this football game.
They're right in it anyway.
They come back and win this football game and keep it close. They got newfound respect from me.
McGee, a super fast player, is on the near flank. Collinsworth at the top of your screen. Stanley Wilson breaks it and goes out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Running ahead, they're going to spot him out. Very close to a first down. Might be just a foot or so short of one. A 9.5-yard gain by Wilson, who scored the first touchdown of the day on a 20-yard bust up the middle.
Tony Lilly finally on the tackle to get Wilson out of bounds. This is so unlike the Denver Bronco defense. In the first half, you can see Dan Reeves saying, "What are you doing to me here, Joe?" The big plays again have been the reason the Bengals have gotten back in this game. They were the reason that they were so close in the first half.
Dan Reeves yelling out to his defense to get it together. Right now, the Cincinnati Bengals moving virtually at will through the Denver defense with the passing game. Cincinnati had to go to an all-out passing game. They were trailing with the Bengals in the fourth quarter, 34-14. Randall Cunningham has just thrown a 10-yard touchdown pass to Mike Quick of the Eagles. And with 11:35 left to play at Los Angeles, it is the Eagles 27, the Raiders 24.
Tell you one thing about this Bengal football team. Certainly shown its character in this second half, have they not?
They really have. It's cold in Denver, but wind is not a factor.
It's colder for Denver right now than it is the Bengals.
Second down, less than a yard for Cincinnati. Bengals down by 6 with 5:48 to play. Wilson again, and Stanley Wilson gets out of bounds again down to the 36-yard line. Mecklenburg ran him out, but all of a sudden, when the Bengals were seemingly out of this game, somebody hit the go button and they've taken off.
On that time, they caught the Broncos in a blitz. Collier trying to disrupt the Bengals offense as best he possibly could, and they run the play to the corner. And you see Joe Collier. He's giving his signals.
Ahead.
Oh.
When they're up by 20, he's nervous. One of the best in the business at his specialty, coordinating the defense. But the defense is not in sync right now. The Bengals are moving the ball and quickly through Denver. Eddie Brown in motion. Eddie Brown incomplete. Brown looked out. Zias went up the middle. It'll be second down and 10.
And the Bengals have gone over 400 yards total offense today. That's the 4th week in a row against Minnesota, Seattle, the Oilers, and now 417 against the Broncos.
The other 3 were all wins to get the Bengals to 8-4.
Right now, the Bronco defense has got to be thinking, wait a minute, what can we come up here with? Because that time, even though Esiason threw it to the wrong side of Eddie Brown was open. They're not covering him for some reason right now.
Does White send all the plays in?
All of them, every one of them. Although Esiason has a choice, he can run audibles.
Crowd noise intense for Esiason on second down and 10. A blitz, a looping ball downfield. It is almost intercepted. They were going to Collinsworth, but Steve Wilson got a hand on the ball. Timing pattern against a full blitz. Just hoped that Collinsworth would run under it. Wilson doing a good job defending.
And you ask about all the plays coming in from the bench. This is obviously an audible. And I'll tell you, Wilson's not looking back for the football. They could have thrown the flag there on interference, but the replay is not involved in penalties involving interference. So it brings up third down and 10. Obviously, 2-down area for the Bengals.
Biggest down of the game so far for Cincinnati. Third down and 10 at the 37-yard line. Bengals down by 6. 5:33 to play.
Oh, no.
That snap. Esiason doesn't get the ball. Looks like a Bengal did get it, but way back at the 41-yard line.
Don, the crowd did that. The ball was snapped, and Esiason was looking around. It ends up being a 22-yard loss, but when you run from the shotgun, you always stand a chance that there's going to be miscommunication. See, Boomer's not looking at the football. It's snapped by Remington, and they're very lucky to recover. Extremely lucky. Eddie Brown comes up with it, and the Bengals are going to have to punt.
Still a lot of time remaining, so the Broncos very nearly get a turnover that would have probably put the lid on. But right now, Hayes is in to punt. He hits an end-over-end punt at Gerald Wilhite. He'll run it back from the 22. He pays at the 28. Broncos still without a turnover, a 38-yard punt, a 6-yard return, and now with 4:38 left to play in the game, the Broncos with a 34-28 lead send their offense out.
That's the way it stands right now. With the wins today, that snap punt, the crowd did that. The center did not hear the count by the quarterback. When they played in Houston, the Bengals had a miscommunication between center and quarterback costing the game.
Two teams are in the playoffs officially, both in the National Conference. The Bears and the Skins with their 11th victories today. Handoff to Sammy Winder on a slant. He's out to the 35-yard line where Crumrye drilled him, but Winder gets ahead for a good gain on first down. To those viewers who have just joined us to watch Our House, please stay tuned. Our House will be seen in its entirety immediately following NFL football, except for Mountain and Pacific time zone stations where the program will be seen in its regular time. And stay tuned for Skins Game Golf on the West Coast only. Following the NFL is right now Elway with 2nd down and 4, pitches back. Gene Lang. First down, up in those legs, that piston drive. An LSU Tiger trying to bust it, and he does get the first down for Denver.
This is just a well-orchestrated sweep by the Broncos. Get those big guys out in front. Good lead blocking. Lang hanging on the football, got turned upfield, and he picks up 4 yards for the first down. Ends up being a 7-yard gain.
Bengals have turned the ball over in this game 3 times. The Denver Broncos have turned the ball over not at all. 3:20 to play. Clock running. 34-28 Denver. 1st and 10 for the Broncos. Winder, not much. Got to the 46. It'll be 2nd and 8.
Bengals now got to be thinking about calling timeouts. Your defense can save you time. If you call a timeout, your offense with incomplete passes and passes out of bounds can stop the clock. And the offense has to have some time to function down 6 points.
Eagles still leading the Raiders on the Randall Cunningham to Mike Quick touchdown pass in the 4th quarter, but they scored it with over 11 minutes remaining. A lot of time left there as you see our game clock here in Denver down to 2:35 and running. Elway throws, and is it caught by Mark Jackson?
Yes.
It is.
Yes, excellent catch.
Tremendous play by the rookie. Mark Jackson comes up and gets it right off the turf, and it's another first down for the Broncos.
Lewis Phillips was the man in coverage. This is really a rifle shot. I thought he made the catch. Phillips is signaling no catch, and he should try to get him on the ground. Zander finally makes the tackle, and eventually now the Bengals take a timeout. They have 2 left.
2:15 to play. They'll get another timeout, an official one when it goes down to the 2-minute warning. So a very big play by a rookie who's made a lot of them in his first season at Denver. Mark Jackson catching the ball off the turf for a first down, and the ball now positioned at the 43-yard line of Cincinnati. Bengals have scored the last 14 points in this game to come to within 6.
Try to pick up the ball and the catch. Looks like a catch by Mark Jackson. His 4th of the day for 79 yards and his first NFL touchdown. And you mentioned earlier a couple of times that Bengals have gotten no breaks. Hurt themselves. The snap by Remington. The offsides by Scow. The fumbled punt return by Ray Horton. The fumble by Chris Collinsworth. And the Broncos in position here now to have control of this football game again.
Pitchers on top of it. There's been a lot of big plays in the game, and more to follow with 2:15 to play as the Broncos break their offensive huddle with 2nd down and 10 coming up.
That's 1st and 10, Don. They got 2nd and 10 on the marker. It's first and 10.
Elway heading for the sideline, turning upfield, and John Elway's down to the 36-yard line. He stays in bounds, and that'll take the clock down to the 2-minute warning.
He's the only guy in the offense that the defense doesn't account for. Jackson ran the cornerback off, and Elway was able to pick up some needed yardage, but the Bengals take another timeout with 2:06 remaining.
Atlanta Falcons, a big underdog, went into Miami today as the Dolphins were coming off that 45-3 rout of the Jets. And the Falcons won the game. Final just in: Atlanta 20, Miami 14.
You know, if I'm Dan Reeves, I think I run the same play again. I try to get Elway to pick up the first down. 1 first down. And if he stays in bounds, I think the game is over. And the and the Broncos have survived this furious rush by the Bengals.
The way they've come back, though, I wouldn't count this one over. Let's shoot the gun.
Look for the fat lady. That's what you're saying?
Well, the Bengals have shown an ability to go right through the Denver defense here in the second half. And very, very nearly another touchdown throw. The ball tipped away from Collinsworth the last time by Wilson. A look at the final scores today. The Bears go to 11-2 with an overtime victory over the Steelers at Soldier Field. The Rams, an underdog over the Jets. Washington with its 11th victory. Cleveland goes to 9-4 and right now is sole leader of the AFC Central. Indianapolis leading the Vinny Testaverde sweeps,
which they have
very close behind,
which they have since week 3.
Gene Lang, 2nd and 4, gets the first down, but wait. A marker is down with 2 minutes to play, and it's in the Denver backfield.
Holding against the Broncos.
Dan Reeves is livid.
That's the first penalty of the day against the Broncos. Excuse me, 3rd penalty of the day against the Broncos.
That's a nutty, though.
Holding, number 70, offense, 2nd down.
That's on Dave Stutter, the offensive right tackle. They ran the sweep to his side. And the 2-minute warning is announced.
2 minutes to play at Mile High. We've got a lot of football left, though. We'll be back right after this.
AT&T, the right choice. The division-leading Rams trail the upstart Bucks 27-24 deep into the 4th quarter. And now LA needs a big play on defense. Should the Rams play a zone to clog passing lanes or blitz the quarterback? What would you do?
This is a cover story taking shape for Time magazine, but late-breaking news stops the presses. Time puts AT&T Skynet digital service into action. Via satellite, a new cover story is transmitted instantly, accurately, and rolls off the presses in under 24 hours. Let us show you how AT&T digital services can help your business. AT&T, the right choice.
What did you decide? The Ram defense opts for a 6-man zone, blanketing all receivers, and Leroy Urban intercepts for a clutch game-winning touchdown. The Rams stay on top of the West. Los Angeles made the right choice.
John Elway getting some timeout counsel from his coach, Dan Reeves, as a penalty call against an offensive lineman negates the first down run by Gene Lang, and now it's 2nd down and 14 coming up for Denver.
Denver not turned the ball over yet today. In the last 2 minutes certainly don't want to, and that's what the Bengals are thinking all the way around. Somehow try to come up with the football.
Watson goes wide to the left. Mark Jackson has also made some big plays on the right flank. Blitz, Elway loops it up for grabs, and it's well behind Mark Jackson as Lewis Breeden was running with him stride for stride. There's also a penalty marker down, the player down. No penalty marker, that's picked up, but Watson is down.
Like he turned his ankle or his knee. It's getting a little slippery out there. Leo Barker had pressure all over John Elway. This is Billups on Watson. Man-to-man bump and run coverage. Try to dictate where he's going to go. He stepped on his foot. Looked like he looked like he bent his knee a little bit.
So it'll be 3rd down and almost 14 when we come back to Mile High. John Elway on 3rd down and 14 on a call play, waits, and then runs it up the middle for 21 yards and a first down.
Don, it's a designed play, a quarterback draw. Watch everybody get out of his way. The offensive line does a great job of getting everybody outside. Bishop takes his man out. Bryan does an excellent job as the personal escort for John Elway. Biggest first down of the day for the Broncos.
At the 29-yard line, and so with 1:41 left to play, Elway gets the big play that gives Denver 4 new downs, and Cincinnati takes its last timeout.
Last week, 51 yards rushing. Today, 43. And I can't emphasize enough that when you design a defense, the only guy you don't account for is the quarterback.
And the viewers on the West Coast would stay tuned for the wrap-up of the Skins game, where every hole is a tournament in itself. All the excitement coming up on the West Coast of the Skins game as defending champion Fuzzy Zeller matches his skills against golfing greats Nicholas, Palmer, and Trevino. That's on the West Coast only. Right now, with 1:41 left to play, Sam White's in the Bengals in a troubled position. They are down by 6 after rallying here in the second half. But the Denver Broncos have the ball, and the Cincinnati Bengals are out of timeouts.
Sam can say, what if? What if we're not offsides? What if we don't fumble the punt?
Elway calls his own number to run the clock.
That's it. Game is over. Let's see when they start the 30-second clock. They've got 4 downs. They stop the clock just for everybody to unpile. They'll start it again as soon as everybody's up. There it goes, 1:29. Game's over.
Cincinnati Bengals powerless to stop the clock after their spirited comeback in this game. They were down by 20, 34-14. It was seemingly over. But then the Bengals scored on 2 consecutive long drives to get right back in it, got the ball again, and almost hit another score. But the Broncos have put the lid on, driving the ball down the field and running the clock with John Elway on that 18-yard run up the middle on 3rd and long, getting a first down. That'll do it. The Broncos will go to 10-3. And depending on what the Raiders do, they could have a 2-game lead in the AFC West, because at the moment the Raiders are losing to underdog Philadelphia.
Of course, with Cleveland's victory today, now the Bengals fall a game back in the AFC Central. Next week they go to New England to play the Patriots. Doesn't get any easier for Cincinnati. And then in 2 weeks they play the Cleveland Browns in Cincinnati.
So Coach White's and the Bengals about to go to 8-5. Elway again, knee down, and that'll do it here at Mile High Stadium. Now it's time for the Most Valuable Player Award, sponsored by Budweiser, and today's MVP is John Elway of the Denver Broncos. Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the MVPs selected in today's games. John Elway throwing for 3 touchdowns in this game, and Coach Dan Reeves and his owner, Pat Boland. That coat is worth more than my car.
And mine.
But it's in the books now, and the Broncos win.
Elway's numbers, 22 of 34, 227 yards, 3 touchdowns. Hadn't thrown a touchdown since November 2nd. He threw 3 today. Collinsworth for the Bengals had 8 catches for 138 yards. Esiason 21 of 30, 306 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. But it was the turnovers that killed Cincinnati. The Broncos played a perfect game. Bengals turned it over 3 times. The Broncos did not turn it over.
So now the Broncos go in getting ready to go to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs next Sunday on many of these NBC sports stations. And right now, the final numbers up here at Denver. It is 34-28. Don Cricky for Bob Crumpy. Stay tuned for our house, except on the West Coast and most mountain time zones, where you'll see the Skins game.
A promotional fee has been paid to